On page,
like,
on page 874.
And you know, oh, if somebody told you the page number, that would
You're
suck.
like, oh. What's up, everyone? Welcome to Nerd On, the podcast you didn't need, but you deserve. Where
That's your
all
camera, Mike.
levels of nerd are welcome. We are going back to Hogwarts with our favorite guest host right now. However, instead of the normal school curriculum, we are going to learn the valuable lessons of teaching yourself, because professors suck. Continuing our journey.
You
through
heard it here, folks. RateYourProfessor.com.
That's what this movie's about. Journey through the Wizarding World. Today's topic is Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. Let's introduce the host.
I'm sorry.
Yes, Josh?
No. When I was getting prepped for this episode, we've done so many Harry Potter movies.
Yeah.
But there are so many that I was like,
Yeah.
what one are we on?
I know.
What order? Because I remember us talking
five.
about scenes. Like, I remember us talking about scenes from other movies, and I was like,
Oh.
shoot, did we
Did we
do
skip
the-
a movie?
Did we skip a movie?
No.
And did we? Anyway, I'm Josh.
Tom. I'm Tom.
I'm Corey, and
And
our guest
I'm
host.
Josh.
Yeah, we did it.
Right.
Hey,
Did it.
Hey, nice sweater.
Thanks.
By the way.
Way to go, Josh.
Oh, dead giveaway. My
Yeah.
name's Mikey. It's not Josh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Corey got me this sweater.
I did. It was very exciting.
Do you identify as Mikey
You know what?
instead of Michael?
That happened again yesterday. I was introduced to a friend, and she wanted to double check, and she's like, "It's Mike, right?" And I was like, it's
Well, when people call me,
gonna be Mikey in 15 minutes. Doesn't matter.
when I was a kid, people called me Tommy, and then
Really?
now if people call me Tommy, I'm like, that's a little weird.
I think it's something that'll never change until I change it on Instagram or Facebook. It won't.
Yeah.
Until it's official on the
Yeah,
internet.
yeah.
That's like when people used to call me in high school, hey, you fucking idiot. And now they just call me Corey, which is nice.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
prefer that. So when
Yeah.
people do that again, I'm like, did you go to Nevada High?
There are people that call me Joshy, for
Yeah.
real.
I like
Anyway,
Just Josh and you.
That's
just
cute.
Josh and me.
that. Oh.
Of me.
We have some housekeeping.
Yeah, we do.
Housekeeping. This episode is, as always, brought to you in part by the members of the Nerd On Nation that is powered by Patreon. As a member of the Nerd On Nation, you do get fun perks.
Like what?
Like, you get early access to these episodes.
No
Bam!
way.
You get bonus episodes that nobody else hears.
Pow!
You get access to secret channels on our super public Discord server
Kapow!
that only you and other members of the Nerd On Nation get access to.
Bam, bam!
Yeah,
Yeah.
like that.
You also get early access to merch,
Yeah?
some discounts, all that kind of stuff. Like we have an anniversary mug that is out.
Yes, it is.
And Patreon got that 10% discount and early access to it. So, just throwing that out there.
Save
Hell
that
yeah.
money, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, Roy.
Yeah,
So
Roy.
check that out, nerdon.tv/Patreon. And check out that Discord, nerdon.tv/Discord. And get in, continue the conversation. It's fun over there. Lots of cool peeps.
Get
it's a
inside.
positive environment to be in. So check it out. And a huge shout out to just like kind of like an honorable mention to Odyssey and Body Audio
Body, yada, 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 yada.
and Apogee.
Mikey gets it.
Jeez.
I
And if
love
you
that
like,
song.
if you like what you hear today, thank you. Thank you.
Thank.
I appreciate that.
Also, you're welcome. We provide you
you're
the greatest
welcome.
podcast of all time.
Good content.
Yeah.
Share us with your friends and your family.
And if you didn't like us, share us with your enemies.
Yeah. Stop by, rate and review. That is how we grow. People make judgment calls based on what they're going to listen to, based on reviews.
Regardless, you should throw money at us. 4
Yeah.
quarters a month.
Do it.
Yeah.
But
Quadas.
that is the housekeeping. Shall we get on to this orderly episode?
Oh, there it is.
Oh,
There it is.
dear.
Did I do it?
Yeah.
I
Pretty
did
good.
it.
You know
did
how
it.
you get older, you just lose brain cells?
Yeah.
This doesn't help.
I want to start us off by saying, Mikey, thank you for returning for this
Yeah.
as the Harry Potter expert in the house.
What's your Zizu bounding outfit?
You do look like a little Steve Zissou, but very Harry Potter like.
A very Harry Potter Christmas?
It's been a while. Has it been like a year since we did a Harry Potter
Yes, it
episode?
has.
Yes,
actually.
we did it on, I think it was January the 10th.
And that was remote. It's nice to have you back in studios.
In studio.
They're all
Thank you,
touching
guys.
hands.
Missed you. Tom, I've missed you as well.
So,
I see you every day, but I miss you.
But yeah, so it's exciting. Exciting to have you back. I'm glad to see your smiling face here. We're going to talk about Order of the Phoenix. But I want to throw this out here. We didn't do it this time around, but after this episode, we are down one host now. We have a guest host here. We're not doing our typical interview episode with Mikey where we would talk about something and then
Not like
you
the
know, a
last
movie
4
they like.
episodes we did with Mike.
But we talked a bit and we decided we do want to do a little guess that grump, and we could probably call it guest that grump.
Oh my god.
We didn't put a poll out for the nation, but for future episodes we absolutely will. Having said that, we'll do one amongst ourselves.
Among Us?
Among Us.
Put it in the tags.
Wolf, Almond, Gus.
No, the game Among Us.
Among
So
Us.
with that brings us into our first of many segments of the show, which is
Guess that grump. Tom tom ta tom 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 ta tom tom.
Good shot, James.
I was going to try to follow along because at one point there was a through line, and then I was just like,
That's right. We're gonna be guessing. We're gonna rate this movie at the end of the episode on a scale of 1 to 5 because we don't do 0 stars here. And whoever has the lowest, no matter how high it is the grump for the episode. So let's start us off here since I never explain it and somehow I got it right. Tom, why don't you start us off?
I'm gonna guess that it's going to be Mikey.
Okay.
I accuse.
Mikey.
J'accuse.
That's a guess for Mikey.
Wouldn't it be t'accuse if you accuse? Or j'accuse is I accuse, right?
yeah,
So
I think so.
So if
I
someone,
have no idea. I don't want to talk about this anymore.
Well, sorry, Corey.
Who's your vote?
We talked
Mikey?
about my
Mikey, who
puns.
do you think will be the grump of this episode?
Who's going to be my grump for the episode? I will.
Can't guess yourself.
I'm not. I would never.
Okay.
You know what? I'm going to guess Tom because you hurt my feelings.
T'accuse.
Et tu, brute.
Jajois?
Oh, Jajois.
I am going to guess. I love you, but Mikey.
Oh.
It's fair. It's fair. All right, I changed mine to Josh.
Wow.
And I am going to guess Tom.
you all accuse.
So that means Josh and I will be going first.
Yay.
And then you guys duke it out to see who gives your score at the end of the episode.
Big brains.
First. But with those in, and again, moving forward, Nerd On Nation, you will be voting in this. So keep an eye, listen to these past episodes, see where we stand with the Harry Potters, and use that knowledge to your advantage to get a shout out on the episode. With that, we move into our next segment, which is the complete spoilers. Did I do that right, Tom? Because that's what you
No,
usually
you
do.
needed to do it a little bit more dramatic like that.
Sorry.
Where it's like,
Do it where
it would clip
Yeah.
and
Can you,
distort.
can you do it as if you have no control of your vocal range?
Yeah. The next segment we're moving into is the spoilers of this, which is our first impressions and initial reactions for those across the pond. I will go first.
Oh.
So
okay.
Order of the Phoenix. We all know that
The Phoenix.
Azkaban was the book and the movie with the Azkaban for me because we got Lupin in there. We got a
It was
darker
out there like
theme.
Azkaban. Bam!
Yeah. Order. When I read the books, Order was my second favorite book in the series. We got a lot of Sirius. We got a lot of Lupin in there. We got a lot of, again, the thing I like about the Harry Potter books is that they do mature with the audience, and I think I was just hit at that right time where each of the books really kind of hit me.
My
And,
parents still hit me.
and we talked about this a little bit on the last episode with Goblet. I love the book Goblet of Fire, but the movie sold it a little bit short. And I feel similar with this movie, where the book to me is my second favorite book in the series, but the movie still doesn't hold a candle to what's in there.
AKA, it's not your second favorite movie. of the
It is not
series.
my second favorite movie in the series. However, it does have a lot of things I like in it. It does have my favorite line in the entire series in it, written on the page and spoken. It does have a lot of Lupin and a lot of Sirius, which is like major points for me. And it explores some of the Harry Potter world that I find to be the most fascinating, but also kind of the most confusing in a very cool way. So yeah, I like the movie.
Nice.
Interessant.
Who's next?
I'll go next.
Okay.
I don't really remember the specific, like seeing it first. I know that I was at a midnight showing. I do know that, but I will say a special note for this one, preparing for the episode and seeing it again. This was the first time that I watched a Blu-ray on 4K, and
You creamed yourself.
Yeah.
Bonnie and I started
Was
watching.
that
We were
after
like,
you text me?
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Did you
that's
expect
great.
to Patronum yourself?
Yeah, I did. I wore the white pants, and I was like, "Oh,
It's a beautifully shot movie.
wow, this looks good."
Alfonso Cuarón,
and then
but it is.
for some reason, it wasn't working for a second. Like the Blu-ray player wasn't working, And so we switched to watching it on Apple TV.
Which
And we're
is
like,
still
no, we're
4K
gonna figure out
Yeah.
what is going on over here to watch because it's like the physical media just still looks better.
More information. It's not streaming. It's
yeah.
it's physically all there.
But I mean, for me, I loved the book. I like all things Harry Potter, so it makes it very hard to
Except
put
the
in a
bad
sort
things.
of to make. Yes, of course.
Yes.
But it's hard for me to put into words. Like I remember seeing this and being like, hell yeah. There were some really cool things that I know that they changed, obviously.
Yeah.
Spoiler free here, so no specifics.
Yeah.
Except for
Now, I'll be honest, like I am more familiar with the movies now than I am with the books.
Yeah.
So to me, my head, I was asking Mikey a lot of questions that I couldn't remember. We watched it together. And so I'm curious to hear some of those if we can have a section where we dive in later, but I'd be interested.
I think Mikey always has a better memory for things because I don't like you have
It's the only
your
book-
memory is
it's the only
just
books
like
he's
boom.
read.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway.
exactly.
But you like the movie.
But I like the movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Should we just move on down, Mikey?
Yeah.
Your
Sure.
first impression, initial reaction with
Go ahead,
the
go
Order of the
ahead.
Phoenix?
Macaroni.
Movie.
Macarons.
I call you different, Mike.
I did like the movie. I did the midnight viewing thing with all my like high school friends who saw the fourth one together. We made a whole event of it. We even had a duel in front of the
Nice.
And then you guys played
counter.
for
That
Juan.
was you.
Who were you playing?
for myself, baby.
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah.
Because in my brain, I am a wizard who does go to that school.
What class are you in? We talked
Class of 2006.
No. What
He's
house?
Oh, what
he's
house?
Gryffindor now.
Gryffindor, that's right.
So when I think the first time I did
We talked
the
about
podcast,
this.
I was a Slytherin.
He was like me.
I was a bit of a loner at the time, but I've blossomed in my 30s. But I'm a Gryffindor now. Hence the sweatshirt.
I did it again. I'm still a Ravenclaw.
Ravenclaw.
So,
But
but anyway,
So the
continue.
movie-
You did a fight outside, and then you went in to
We
see the
did.
movie.
fantastic. I mean, we just had the most fun. The thing I remember the clearest was all the heavy montages.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much of the books that have to be left out, but
Training.
this was David Yates' first one, I
Yeah.
think.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
And I can't remember the screenwriter.
Michael
I have it right
Greenberg?
here.
Goldman or something.
We'll go into that.
Goldenman or something.
Golden Fold from Rick and Morty.
Goldenberg. Bill
Michael
Goldenberg,
Goldenberg.
of the
Wow.
WWF. Who's
Yeah.
next? What? But I liked how anything that was kind of left out that you couldn't dive into, obviously for time, was in the newspaper clippings and other montages where
That's
you got
right.
to see things. You only saw it once, but they did a good job, I thought, of like
What was
covering
that
all the
headline you
material.
liked? The Dumbledore daft or
Is he like daft or?
Daft or Delirious?
no?
I
It
can't
was
remember
like
what it was in the clipping, but it was
Yeah.
alluding to, is he a genius or is he out of his mind?
Yeah.
Delusional?
Yeah.
well,
maybe it was
daft
that.
means an idiot.
Yeah.
So it was either genius or daft.
So it was one of the movies that you had to pay attention to a lot of those montages to see all the, the storylines that you would not have gotten because
Yeah.
most of the storylines in the book were like the entire story.
Mhm.
They would come and go and ebbs and
Yeah.
flows of the same.
I mean, it's the longest book in the series.
So long. It was one of my favorite books too, but I think 4 and 5 at the time, up to that date, those were my two favorites. I
Yeah.
think because there was so much and it never really ended. But the 5th one explored so much that the previous ones hadn't. It's the first time we get to see the Ministry of Magic.
No spoilers.
Yeah.
No spoilers.
Oh, is that a spoiler?
Yeah. This is no spoiler section
Oh.
technically, but yeah, I mean,
We flipped the script.
But
on
you do see a little bit. You
My
do
bizzle.
see a little bit in the trailer for it because I watched that recently, and I mean, yeah, the set design they did here is exactly how I kind of pictured the ministry.
Incredible.
Yeah.
All I will say is there are parts of the Wizarding world and characters that are introduced that we didn't have beforehand, and
Mhm.
and Harry, as every movie up until this point, he is the audience's
Surrogate.
Yeah. So how many? We even said it when we were watching it. Like how many times Harry says like
Yeah.
he acknowledges
Five-
how cool magic
Five
is.
movies in, and he's still
He's
impressed by
still
magic.
impressed. Yeah. So
I dig it.
without saying too much,
But then we
I-
were like, but that's the world I'd want to live in.
Yeah.
Where I'm like never unimpressed with what's happening in front of me.
And I'll
So-
steal from your wife, Dana. I think she said something to the
Shout out.
degree of
Mhm.
shout out to Dana. That like growing up, you're always trying to recreate the magic that you had in high school theater,
Yeah,
and that's
Yeah.
I feel like that's how Harry Potter is
I agree.
as well. Like that magic never ends, and pun
No.
intended. But I liked the movie. I still like the movie, but it is probably one of the more forgettable ones for
Sure.
me.
Ooh,
I-
hot take.
And I don't mean that in a bad way. I think it's just the one that I skip over a lot.
We'll get into it. We'll get
Yeah.
into it here.
Loved it,
Tom?
Well, I never try to recreate the theater experience in my life because I never had high school theater.
Must
Did you
be
get
nice.
bullied? Did you get bullied in theater?
It must be nice.
The
Must
one
be nice.
kid in high school theater that got bullied by
I
the
was
rest of the theater?
saying this before we aired. All the theater kids in my high school were all the cool kids.
Really?
They were legit like known as the cool kids.
Let me be
I-
clear. We were very cool.
I would say that. Well,
Did
'cause
you
I
say
went to
that,
a
or-
performing arts school. We were the
Like you
Cool
can't
kids.
self-claim that you're the cool kids. You have to have the outsider tell you that you're the
Yeah.
cool kids because people's opinions is what matters in your own mind.
people.
Yeah.
we had to audition to get in our school.
A cool audition
A cool audition. Yeah, to get in our cool.
because you're cool for school.
Yeah.
Anyways, for me, initial reactions, first impressions. I have not watched this film since like 2015. I saw it in theaters and I saw it again, and then I haven't seen it since until for preparing for this episode. And mirroring a little bit of the same feelings as everyone else. I don't think this is the strongest film in the bunch, which is tough, right? And it also is a thing. It's kind of like the MCU in a way where it's like all the films are very passable and enjoyable. Like you're gonna have one you're gonna like the least.
Sure.
But not all of them perform as strongly as the original Christopher Columbus and all that stuff. So, that being said, I think this film actually has so much working against it. It's David Yates' first film.
Yeah.
It's the writer's first film. It is the complete departure of the childish world. It is the complete jumping into
She
the
gets
adult
real.
world.
Mhm.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
Prisoner of Azkaban is a taste of things to come, and then Goblet of Fire is
This
like
was the point in the books where it's like, oh, somebody died. Oh, shiz.
yeah, and Goblet of
Like, just
Fire
before
was
this-
just like, hey, let's not get haircuts, and then they're like, okay, we're gonna get haircuts. So
That's what happens after you see death, Tom.
Yeah.
And I thought there was really cool director things that happen in it. Some things I don't agree with, some things I very much agree with. And I'll explain that later when we talk about it. But
Please do.
found myself watching it not liking the change that I felt is necessary to tell this story. And that's a very interesting experience to watch this movie going through.
Say that again. Sorry.
I did not like the changes or experiencing the changes that I thought were necessary to watch this movie.
Interesting. That's what I
Um,
thought you said. I had to.
I might have lied and said something different. Who knows? But
No. That's just an interesting phrasing of that. Like
yeah,
knowing the changes were necessary, being like, but I don't like them.
but I don't like it. It's just like change. It's like growing up.
Yeah.
And seeing someone die. I think overall it's a Harry Potter movie, so it's not gonna be terrible. So if you're listening to this and you think like, oh, their initial reactions, no, that's just not the thing, and that's us actually just trying to express, pontificate about like what we feel about that film.
It's weird coming into these episodes every time. Like it's just like when we choose an episode that is like, we're doing my favorite movie today or something like that. It's
Sure.
always very weird for specifically the Harry Potter movies because Bonnie and I, we probably watch all of them at least once a year. And
Yeah.
it's one of those, like when I watch them, even watching it a couple of times for this, I was like, it's
No, and
it's interesting finding the
the seams.
the seams or trying to, or even like that, like experiencing it from not an educational, but more of a, I can't think of the words for it.
It's funny
For covering an episode on it, it is.
Yeah,
it is
it's hard.
educational. Yeah.
I
You have to put some stuff aside.
I feel like I haven't watched the series in such a long time until we redo them for Mikey's wonderful presence. But like it's kind of interesting to rewatch these, and I remember, and this is like probably the hottest take I'm gonna say is I remember like Prisoner of Azkaban having such a profound like love for it as I rewatched it again for college and stuff like that, and talking about Alfonso Cuarón's directing and Goblet of Fire. Like, okay, cool, these are all the things I missed, but I don't remember a lot of the feelings I had about Order of the Phoenix, and I think it's because I didn't have any strong feelings of it. I think the biggest thing was like the trailer stuff was like they're flying on top of the ocean
Yeah.
in the Muggle world. I'm like, that's baller, and
Uh.
that's most of my memories of the film. Like when I saw rewatch this film, I was like, oh, this is in this one. Like,
Oh,
and I
this
remember
is this
reading
one.
I remember reading the book, and I'm like, I know exactly when I stopped
Yeah.
reading the book.
Run
Like that's
Freya.
fifth book was when I stopped reading. I was like, this is too boring.
Oh, you didn't do Half
I'm
Blood or
over it.
anything?
Nope.
Woo!
Because I was not in the Scholastic Reader program anymore. I'm like, I don't need to read books anymore.
Oh,
Go
man.
away.
That was when it like was real for me. Was
Oh.
when I didn't read it for grades. I read it for genuine love.
Well, I
Yeah.
read it for grades.
Something my grandma and I shared with these books. She,
I-
she got me all those first editions.
It was enjoyable to do it for grades, but this is the point where I was like, this is too long. And, you know, in light of the wonderful, well, J.K. Rowling came out and said, she has said that this is the longest book and she found it's actually too bulky. And I
Yeah.
was like,
If you
whatever,
want to
that's
hear
fine.
our thoughts on the whole J.K. Rowling thing, check our last episode.
yeah.
Anyway, so that should give you an idea of how these ratings should go, I think. Maybe not
Hopefully,
even.
maybe.
That was a little like pretty vague from all of us. But that does move us into our next couple of sections here, which is the brief synopsis and the production. Who's doing the brief?
I could do the brief.
Josh
Let's
is
do
doing
it.
brief.
And I got the production on
Nice
lock.
you are.
All right, here's a brief synopsis provided by the interwebs. Now in his 5th year at Hogwarts, Harry learns that many of the wizarding community do not know the truth of his encounter with Lord Voldemort. Cornelius Fudge, Minister of Magic, appoints his toady, Dolores Umbridge, as defense against the dark arts teacher, for he fears that Professor Dumbledore will take his job. But her teaching is deficient, and her methods cruel. So Harry prepares a group of students to defend the school against a rising tide of evil.
I will also say, I forgot to say, this movie predicted the rise of Karen so hard.
Yeah. You looked like you were going to say something a second when he was reading that short description. Did you have something you wanted to say?
I think it's
about...
when you laughed in the middle of it.
No, it was his 5th year. Read that again.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
I know I'm an adult now, but every time someone says Voldemort, I
Oh, yeah.
shudder a bit.
But you need to say his name.
Fear of the name only increases fear of the thing itself.
Yeah.
I want to believe it, but I don't.
But also,
Just call him Tom, like a baller ass move, like Dumbledore.
Oh, he still calls him Tom. It's so
Al-
dope.
also in
we'll get into that.
in most modern fantasy storytelling, if you had the power over the name, then you actually can control their minds.
Yeah.
Go on.
Production.
Whoa.
And now I haven't read this yet because Tom likes to put in little surprises for the production for me. So,
You'll see.
production distributed by Warner Brothers Pictures, known for National Lampoon's Vacation, The Lost Boys, and Lethal Weapon. Directors David Yates, State of Play, The Young Visitors, and the, how do I say this?
I don't know.
Tichborne?
Probably.
Claimant?
Oh,
Tichborne?
the Tichborne Claimant.
Thank you.
Claimant. Yeah.
Producers
Mm-hmm.
David Heyman.
Hell
Paddington,
yeah.
Paddington 2, and the upcoming Paddington 3.
Hell yeah.
Heyman Productions.
David Barron, Hamlet, Othello, Jack Ryan, Shadow Recruit. Writers, Michael Goldenberg, Contact, Green Lantern, and Peter Pan, based on the novel written by J.K. Rowling. Cast, Daniel
It's a lot.
Radcliffe. It's a lot of cast here, guys.
Wow.
Okay, cast, Daniel Radcliffe, known for Miracle Workers, Beasts of Burden, and Guns Akimbo. Rupert Grint, known for Servant, Snatch, and Moonwalkers. Emma Watson, Little Women, The Circle, This Is the End. Helena Bonham Carter, or Helena Bonham Carter, 55 Steps, Ocean's 8, Cinderella, Robbie Coltrane, Effie Gray, Brave, Gooby,
Gooby.
Warwick Davis, Willow. That's all
Hell
you put
yeah.
for him?
I don't
that's
know why,
all you
I don't
need
know
to
why I
know.
only put it only that. I mean,
Willow,
Star Wars. What else is
He's in
Warwick?
Star Wars?
He's in Labyrinth.
Yeah.
He's in a lot of things.
He's in a lot of
he's,
things.
He's the OG Ewok. He's Wicket.
For real?
For real.
But he's also in Willow.
Yes, he's in
He
Willow.
is Willow. Yeah.
Just want to say that again.
Uh,
It's the best movie ever.
Rafe Fiennes, Kubo and the Two Strings, Schindler's List, Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, Michael Gambon, Kingsman: The Golden Circle, Johnny English Strikes Again,
Yes.
Dad's Army, Johnny English, really?
Yes, I had to.
Brendan Gleeson, The Ballad of Buster Scruggs, nice, Alone in Berlin and Assassin's Creed, Richard Griffiths, Whitetail, Withnail and I, Hugo and History Boys, Jason Isaacs, Peter Pan, Castlevania, Superman, Red Sun, Gary Oldman, The Fifth Element, Dracula,
I don't
well
know why-
done, Book of Eli,
Yeah.
I'll fill that in for you, Alan Rickman, Galaxy Quest, Dogma, Love Actually, well done, and is that an I?
Yeah.
Imelda Stanton, Vera Drake, Shakespeare in Love, and Pride. A couple of release dates here. The 28th of June, 2007 for Tokyo, July 11th, 2007 for the United States, and July 12th, 2007 for United Kingdoms, which is surprising to me that it came out in the US first for some reason.
We're a big market, baby.
Runtime, 138 minutes. Budget and gross was $200 million budget and a gross of $942.2
Oh.
Is that the highest one?
million.
Is that the highest grossing of them?
I don't know. That's a
think
good
so.
question. We
I
should
don't
look
think
that
so.
up.
I think Deathly Hollows Part 1 has the highest.
Rotten Tomatoes score is 77% from critics with 257 reviews and 81% audience from 250,000 ratings.
1,000.
So there you are. There you have it. Tom,
Wow.
well done on that production. I got to give a shout out. Tom always does our production, by the way.
It takes like an hour at least, yo. So I
Great
hope
job.
you guys
He
enjoy
puts in
it.
some sweet surprises. But that frees us up into the, as Tom says, meat and potatoes of our episode, where we get to do our favorite parts, favorite characters, and then qualms and ratings.
And spoiler full.
yes, this
So
is
it's all
spoiler full.
spoilers on an old.
Could you imagine if we did favorite parts, but no?
I like that part at
You know
2
that-
hours.
You know the part.
You know the part.
You know the part.
I'd like to have Mikey step up to the plate for favorite parts first.
Favorite parts.
Favorite parts first, if you got one. Otherwise, Josh
You
has
could do
got
one and then pass it.
Yeah.
I will give you my second favorite part
Okay.
first,
Okay.
which is when you see the castle for the first
Oh my
time.
God.
Fuck.
Actually, when it came up at the end, I was like, "Oh, hey, Mikey,"
Mikey's gonna love
because it
that.
was a shot of the castle, and I was like, bringing it back full circle. No.
When it actually is a really cool part, and I want to say it's probably not the first part of the movie where Harry learns something that he didn't know about the wizarding world, but the Thestrals, the idea that this is why this is one of my favorite parts, is you have two outcasts, Luna and Harry, have a bonding moment over the Thestrals.
Oh, we were talking about that. I love.
No one else can share that. They both seen death. They both watched their mothers die. Granted, Harry was a baby, but he can still remember it. It's
Still saw it,
it's still it's still very
but
heavy.
he also saw Cedric.
And he had just seen Cedric die, but for some reason that's one of my favorite parts is these two kind of outcasty folks who were misunderstood,
Yeah.
and especially in a year that Harry is going to be the most misunderstood, even more than Chamber of
Just
Secrets.
so angry.
He's so angry.
The
Look
only,
at
the
me.
only one who gets him is Looney.
Is
Lovegood.
Looney Luna?
That's who Luna is
Yeah.
named after.
I know,
Is it?
I know that.
Oh.
I
get that.
I also got to give a shout out to this moment Mikey and I were laughing at because, remind me the name again. Thestrals.
Thestrals?
Thestrals.
Not Nargle.
They all go riding off on them, even though Luna and Harry are the only ones who can see him.
So they're
There's
riding
like
on nothing.
6 other kids who are riding on them who are just like,
I'm trusting this. Harry,
I mean-
take the wheel.
why couldn't I have just ridden on a broom?
and that's the thing, right? Where these are people who are used to the magical world. So like
Yeah.
floating on a invisible something is a little bit more normal than Dudley seeing Harry Potter being lifted off the ground.
Yeah, and here's
And that's the
something
thing that I wish they would have done. I thought that would have been cool. Like, oh yeah, they can't see. I want to see their version. I want to see the invisible version.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, they have the moment where Hermione says the cart's pulling itself like always. Are they just never told about those at the school?
I think so.
I mean,
Has no one ever accidentally bumped into it? Like no one tried to walk around the front of the cart and was like,
Well,
what was that?
Hagrid's probably out there. It's like, don't
I guess
get
we don't
close.
really know the experience of it. Like if you,
Because clearly you can physically touch them
Well,
because
but
they're
we
all
don't-
riding on them.
yeah, that's
Well,
true.
so it's funny. So I heard this in the initial reactions when you guys were saying exploration of the wizarding world. I found that this film does not do any exploration. That this film is much more about character feelings.
So I didn't say exploration of the wizarding world.
I think
I
Mikey
did.
said that.
I did because
I'm pointing at both of you because you had to take responsibility.
Yeah, I was like, I did not say that. I
he's
did
your
say that
friend.
It
But-
dives into
No.
some things in the Harry Potter universe that I find
So,
very interesting.
because I felt like when I'm watching this movie, again, that's why it was such an interesting experience watching it, was that like you're so much more encapsulated into what Harry's feeling, what Ron is feeling, and what Hermione is feeling.
Mhm.
Instead of the last few films where showing and exhibiting the world is on the forefront of their minds. Like you have to show the taps. Like there's different ways you could show angle
Mhm.
of things, and so like you could have done it with the Thestrals and the chariot having the little thing that
Like a bridle.
yeah, the bridle that it's like, okay, cool, you don't go through that, you don't touch that
Mhm.
to prevent them, right? That's like much more showy instead of like the forefront is that Harry now has a new friend who has experienced death like he
Yeah,
has.
yeah.
And so like those kind of things happened where it's like they don't do a lot of I'm going to show you the magic. It's more like you just have to be in Harry's like shoes of like it's really tough for him.
Yeah.
well, can I?
Yes, you can.
Yeah. Well, yes, I'm only going to piggyback on what you said, but you finally get to see Dumbledore do what he does, and I know I'm
And
jumping
that's
to the
clap
very
really
end,
hard.
but like
Are we talking about, because I think that's my favorite part that I'm about to talk about. Are you talking about the fight?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I won't
okay.
go into it. I'll let you do that. But
yeah, I'll
We
take
can
it.
all
It's-
talk about it.
Yeah.
it's the first time that you really see Dumbledore and his potential
Mm-hmm.
and what Voldemort's potential is. I'll let you describe it, but it's shocking what wizards can do. And Harry's seeing it for the first time again.
Well, to that level of power.
Right.
Yeah, it's
And
insane.
It's definitely in my top favorite parts of this film. And in the franchise, it's one of my favorite wand fights, duels that happens in the entire franchise.
I mean,
Oh,
just
yeah.
the shot of Ray Fiennes blowing out a fire snake is pretty dope.
that's pretty dope. But also, like, just the immense power the two of them have, like him breaking all the windows and then
Throwing
throwing
Throwing the
glass,
glass.
and then Dumbledore creating it so it just disintegrates back into sand
In the
again.
Yeah.
And then the water bubble that he keeps him in
Yeah,
and
he
spins him
water
around.
That
boards
could have
Voldemort.
won.
What's that?
They could have won.
Maybe
Should have won.
we don't know.
He was pulling back upon.
But like, it's just that whole. It's how I feel about the Duel of the Fates in the first Star Wars movie. It's the first Star Wars movie is not my Phantom Menace is my favorite in the franchise, but it has one of my favorite moments in it, and this is one of those moments that I remember just being in awe and being like, I didn't know they could do this.
This to me, this felt.
I didn't know
very,
it could look this cool.
This felt very Yoda Dooku for me.
Well, it's
Yeah.
it's followed by one of my favorite moments, and it is Fudge.
Yeah.
Fudge. He kind of gets his comeuppance in a way of like being put in his place of like, yeah, bitch, he's back. We
Yeah.
tried to
Yep.
tell you that.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I would say like this, and that's the thing where like I've watched this film twice now, preparing for this because I was just like, do I feel the certain ways I do? So I watched it twice. I can't give Fudge a lot of blame. There is no witnesses. The only person that's testifying was not there, and that's Dumbledore. Harry Potter's the only one saying like, this kid. Hey, we're playing
You're
street.
defending Fudge.
I'm not defending him. I just
he is
but the-
defending Fudge.
well,
a
the
little
thing
bit.
is also, what does he do
he's
afterwards?
victim blaming.
He reinstates it all back.
Fudge resigned.
Yeah, but he takes Umbridge out. He puts puts Dumbledore back. And as I'm just saying, watching this in 2021,
He's
he could have
Fudge.
he could
Wait,
have
wait, whoa, whoa, whoa! You are defending Fudge because Fudge didn't do anything for Umbridge. The Centaurs carried her away.
They
Yeah.
carried her away, but then at the end, she gets taken out of the headmaster position.
Because she gets taken away by centaurs.
She's not dead.
We don't. Oh, she's not dead. Actually, I think she ends up in
Yeah.
St. Mungo's,
Hmm.
like later on in the series. But
And then reinstates Dumbledore back. It's not a defend, but it's like
I mean, his hands were tied.
I would say
a lot
I would
of
say-
bad
I would say
PR
like
there.
Well, but the thing is with Fudge, like I would say also, it's like, yeah, he made a lot of missteps because they're out of fear and worry and all this other bullshit. But I'm like, just kind of seeing how bad it could have gotten. Of like,
Yeah,
he could have
but I
been
think-
like, oh, you created an illusion, or it's like, oh,
But
that
I
was
think
none of our
there's
thing.
also, I think we're missing out on the benefit of the doubt that he's not giving Dumbledore, this guy who's
Oh,
ran this
100%.
school, fought him before, like pretty much omnipotent character is going, yeah, he's back. And he goes, "Pff, don't believe you.
Well, Fudge, and I'm not defending Fudge.
Uh-huh.
Damn it, we are defending Fudge.
I'm not.
Fudge thought the whole time that Dumbledore was after his job.
Yeah.
That was
well,
his.
and
But
that's the
why
thing.
would he be?
Well, that's the thing where I started thinking about
Right.
like how Voldemort has influence, right?
Yeah.
Has mental influence over people. And so for me, I'm just kind of like thinking about it. I'm like, it could have been a lot worse.
Mhm.
And I'm just glad that at least
If
Fudge
he wanted your job, he'd take it.
he would take
Yeah.
it.
Well, yeah, he would take it, but also, and that's the thing where it's like Fudge isn't seeing logic and reason. Everyone
Yeah.
else is, and that's like the thing that like you see that happening with Harry, and then you see the same thing happening with Dumbledore. And that's just something that Hagrid's had to live with all his life.
God, the baller moment of them changing the thing last minute and Dumbledore just being like, I just happened to be here 3 hours early. Being like,
Oh yeah.
bitch, try me.
Bitch, please.
I'm
Do
going to
you-
have an answer for
Do
everything.
you think Dumbledore used the time turner?
Mm.
No,
Did he get it back?
no, that would have been too smart.
He gets it back at the end of the third one.
Then
I
yeah,
believe.
maybe. I also gotta respect Dumbledore for calling
Fox,
Voldemort
oh,
Tom when he gets there.
he had that.
Just putting him in his
BD.
place.
Yeah.
Like, you shouldn't have come here, Tom. And then the coolest fucking fight.
But my bad guy name is this.
my bad guy name is
My bad guy name is this.
I'm the
You
Green
stu-
River Killer.
Didn't they find the tap shoes over there? I'm the tap dance killer. I bought all these tap shoes.
Um,
One of my favorite parts is the first meeting of Dumbledore's army when everybody's basically there. Everybody is there just to like they want to be like, oh, I want to talk to Harry Potter about this and like put him in his place and make fun
Over
of
at
him,
the
blah blah blah.
Hogshead.
Yeah, and he's just like, I love that he's
Voice
just
it?
like, guys, it's not as cool as you think it is.
Yeah.
It's like there's a lot of crazy, but the thing that I liked most about his speech is that yes, I did all of this cool stuff, but I had help.
Yeah.
And that's what I
He
think.
also foreshadows in that moment. He goes, it's different when you're sitting there and your friends are a second away from death, and then that's exactly what
That's
happens.
exactly what happens.
Yeah.
He's sitting there,
pointed that
all
out when we
his
were watching
friends have wands to their neck. They're
Yeah.
a second away from death. Not so fucking cool anymore, guys, huh?
But like
I
think,
told y'all it was gonna end like this.
I think the really cool thing with that happens is that, like it displays like how we start thinking of heroes and icons and charismatic
Yeah.
leaders. It's much more disillusionment, and it tells these kids like, hey, this is the reality of the situation. And like there is something I have to say with Harry Potter as a series and franchise where it's like it doesn't try to glorify the terrible parts.
Mhm.
It really does hone into that. So I mean, like we'll move into speaking of with Sirius Black, and I think your favorite line is "Good shot, James."
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And how so like
And then
and
so
Harry Potter's
quickly-
like, what? You called me by the bad name? Now I'm not going to deflect this this weapon.
No.
Just kidding.
It's a very sweet moment. And I always thought, shout out to director, actor, writer. Gary Oldman nails that moment of just the good shot, James. And then, boom, Bellatrix just comes in.
And I do like that. There's so much of this foreshadow from Sirius Black of like, it's starting to feel like the old ways.
Yeah, well, and he loves
Yeah.
Harry and he sees so much of his best friend in him. And, they're fighting side by side, which is something Harry dreamt of and wanted, was this
Well, this
like,
is the
father
surrogate father,
figure.
yeah.
Yeah.
And to be, in that moment, to be called his father's name is a huge thing for Harry because he looks
And
up
you
to his
got dad
parents so
things.
much.
I think it's actually, if I can read into it, I think it's actually more of a complicated thing for Harry
Sure.
because of the whole memory thing with Snape right
Yeah.
before.
Yeah.
And so like he saw his father in a different light. And so before all that, like when he's like, I saw my dad do the Patronus thing, and then
With a
he
floaty thing. Yeah.
and then he learned like I had to do it myself
Oh, yeah.
in the third film. And then so now you're having it here. It's like, oh, this person who I always wanted to be, I got to see him in a different light. And now,
But in that moment, he is embodying the good in his father. And, it's such a heartbreaking and beautiful moment. And then the fact that who kills him but his own cousin, Bellatrix, and
bitch.
then laughs about it and is taunting Harry through the halls. I think it's just, that line is one of my favorite. That moment, as sad as it is the one that hits emotionally for me the most in that moment. For both of them. Both of those people are in that moment going through something really beautiful, and then immediately it's taken from them.
Shout out to Imelda Staunton for
Yeah.
creating
Oh.
one of the best, if not the
Most
best
hated.
villains
Oh, yeah.
ever
Holy cow.
in all of media. Like people, I just happened to see like a Reddit thread the other day that was people were like, who's worse,
Joffrey.
Umbridge or Voldemort?
Oh.
And everybody was like, oh yeah, it's Umbridge.
Umbridge.
1,000%,
Yeah.
1,000%. But and that's
Because
what,
Voldemort knows he's evil.
yeah, and like it just makes it so glorifying when the Weasley twins leave, and they just kind of like put her in this just like because she just
And they
Especially
foreshadow with the
that,
fire
like,
dragon.
the steps with Minerva like going up a level to try to one up, and
What's
then
the
she gets to
last
a
thing
point.
she says that makes her step back down?
I don't remember.
It's not loyalty, right?
It's something about loyalty, or
like the
like if
loyalty
you
to-
question my teaching, then the one thing I won't tolerate is disloyalty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Minerva's
Minerva's
like-
like, disloyalty, whoa. And
Yeah.
then she has that badass moment of like, oh, there are many things I'd like to say to you. And I'm like,
Yeah. But so yeah, when she has this like high and mighty view of herself, and so when she's put in her place like that, I'm just like,
yeah.
I also I don't love this teacher, but I do love what happens to them with Trelawney getting kicked out, and then Dumbledore's like walk her back.
You can
inside.
fire them, but you cannot kick them off the ground.
Yeah.
And I absolutely love that. Whereas and that's the thing that I think warms all of our souls, because it's one of those things that's like something systematic, administrative, terrible happens to somebody,
Mhm.
and then someone part of your own, team, tribe, whatever it is, comes back to kind of take care of you. And I think that's the really big defining thing that happens. Yeah. I think that also kind of gets
My temple.
compounded with Dumbledore and how he's pretty much telling Harry as Harry's like fighting off the possession.
Yeah.
He's like, it's not what makes you the same, it's what separates you. And
Mhm.
it's family, it's friends, it's loved ones. But I some
I
of my,
have things that I feel sorry for you.
yeah, I will
man.
say, like you, some of my favorite parts of the entire series is from this film,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like seeing Voldemort at 9 3/4
In a suit?
in the suit
Oh.
is amazing.
I wish I could look that good.
But also,
I even said it to Mikey during that thing. I paused it. I was like, that is so unsettling. And so we don't ever get to see him in that suit again. He's like, I don't think so. And I
well,
was
the
like,
thing I love about it, it's like it's a flash, and then it's like the neck roll, and it's
which
just like,
Harry does later
Yeah.
when he wants Dumbledore to look at him. He does the same neck roll.
yeah.
Just look at me.
But then also just like
Look at me.
him
That's Joker.
taunting. I got it. him
I got
taunting.
you.
I'm not wearing a hockey bag.
Him taunting Harry Potter over his like feeble body, and he's just like, you will lose everything. I'm like,
Mhm.
that's a really good moment. But one of my favorite moments in the entire series is Snape, and when he's like, I'm strong, I'm blah blah, like I can get through it. And then Snape says, prove it, and I'm
Mhm.
like, it's like it gets me so good because it's just like, yeah, it's tough. It's you're learning something new. The stakes are high. Like no one trusts you. You want to protect, Dad Weasley, and Dumbledore's gone, and Snape's like, you have to overcome all of this.
You want to know
And
my
it's
favorite
so
Snape
hard.
part?
What's up?
When
Oh, Padfoot.
well, kind of, yeah. So when Harry is being interrogated, and he says to Snape, "They have Padfoot in the place where it's hidden," and then Umbridge is like, "What does that mean?" And then
Snape.
Snape looks at
No.
him and goes, "No idea."
Walks
My
And it's
away.
favorite
like,
is
it,
obviously.
It's
Yeah,
it's a really
obviously.
nice moment where you're
McLean.
like, good looking out, Snape.
hell yeah, Snape.
Because he knows exactly, because you
But
see
all-
in
yeah.
his memory
But also he's like,
that he was like, Mooney, Padfoot, I got him.
Yeah, but Snape
Should I
is
pull his pants down?
Oh yeah,
but
Snape's
Not
an
ye,
Aquaman's.
not me, not Hermione. Yo.
I,
Anyway.
I do love that there is that sense of Snape being like, oh, I hate this kid, but also people know I hate this kid, so that's now become the facade too,
Mhm.
where he's like, oh, I have no more tonic. You used it all, the last of it on Miss Chang,
So unless you want me to poison the kids.
which I'd have the greatest sympathy for. And I was like, this is Snape playing it up.
Mhm.
He's playing his
it
part.
up. I'm like, so good. Also, real quick,
Always.
yo, man, fuck Filch.
Yeah.
Such an asshole.
Yeah.
And he was just so happy. But I did love. It was so like cartoony of him every time he went to go hammer his
And
ladder
the
would
ladder's
shake.
like
I'm like, that's
shaking
so-
off its
Oh,
legs.
man.
I loved that because that to me like, oh, it's the first two movies back again. Like,
Mhm.
oh, the whimsy's still
The
here.
whimsy's still here a little.
Like when Filch is waiting for the door to the room of requirement to open, so he
Oh
can
yeah,
catch
and they're
the
all
kids.
sneaking out the other way.
To illustrate that time has passed, he's got a sandwich, and then
And
he's taking a nap with his
That
sandwich.
sandwich looks so good.
It was a
And it
thick
was
sandwich.
It was thick.
that was
Yeah,
a
it's a
thick
thick boy.
sandy.
3 C's thick.
That was like
Yeah.
one of the ones you get at the gas station that's got like a piece of bread in the middle.
No, that's when you got to go to a restaurant and you have to like order of the Phoenix.
Jesus Christ.
No, please no.
Anyways,
Please no.
Mikey, any more favorite parts, Josh?
What Corey just said was my favorite part.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
My last favorite part will be Dumbledore's escape and the guy going, admit it, Dumbledore's got style. I
Kingsley.
just like,
Yeah.
I mean, I just love when all them bitches are put in their place.
Yeah.
When people are like, they just keep.
Oh, and in that moment too, where Harry's like, "Oh no, it's me." He's like, "No, I believe it's called Dumbledore's Army."
Yeah. Josh, do you like it when everyone
It's not
has,
called Harry Potter's friends.
Yeah.
Dumbledore's Army. It's
Do you like it
mine.
when
I
everyone
did it.
performs the
Brigade.
direction of just
The Potter
oh,
Party.
you right. Oh, you right.
You're right.
I
right.
you know what I really liked about this? Continuance, because I think we saw maybe the first of it in Goblet of Fire. Wizards not using words to cast spells.
Nonverbal spells.
Which
Powerful wizards.
yeah, which is the thing where it's like, oh, okay, now we're seeing the higher echelon of it. Because I'm like,
That whole fight between Dumbledore and Voldemort
even
where they don't say a
even
thing.
Moody is just like,
Yeah.
boom, I just stomped
Yeah.
my cane and all that stuff. I'm like, okay, cool. Versus like, we had Lucius being, it's like, oh my god. You
Yeah,
know?
that's the thing in the second movie that doesn't make sense. There wasn't in the book. Was Lucius
About to say
trying to
Avada
kill Harry?
Kedavra
Yeah,
on the school grounds.
he wouldn't need to. He's good enough to use
To do it by
nonverbal
himself.
spells, and instead he opens his mouth, and then a
Welcome to the world of
house elf got
anime.
him.
But here's the thing.
But, I
they
mean,
do
that-
that in all the movies. Like I feel like the killing curse you have to say. Everyone
feel
Because
like
says
it's
Bellatrix
such a-
says it.
Bellatrix says it.
Voldemort always
Voldemort
says it.
yeah. Because it's something that you have to mean.
Yeah.
So I maybe
I mean, words are
But
very
they
powerful.
still added
Yeah.
it in the book that he would try to kill a kid on school grounds in daylight, broad daylight. That's weird.
Yeah, he
it's
lifts.
still weird.
I think they said he lifts his wand, but I don't know if he actually says the words.
Um,
I don't know if that was a liberty that Columbus took.
I did like to bring it back to this. I did like the getting to explore a little bit of Longbottom's storyline.
Oh,
Yeah.
Funny though,
Funny?
I have to nitpick it
Yeah, please.
because it's not the way the book.
This is
Shall
the
we-
stuff that I don't
will
remember.
that
Yeah,
be
He
in
was a
qualms?
total bitch in the book.
Who was?
Neville
Longbottom.
at the end of the movie,
Neville.
which is nice. I like
Well,
the choices they made.
Oftentimes in the movies, they make him less of a bitch than he was.
Is this
the
like
books.
is this
Right.
like a little baby bitch or like you're bitching?
No,
too
he they gave him like a real kind of a win situation. They've like you see him progress in the
As a
Right.
wizard.
DA meetings, but at the end he is the first one to stand up to fight Bellatrix, but in the
Mhm.
book he's getting absolutely destroyed by Bellatrix the
Right.
whole time.
Which-
so I like the change,
well, it's a nice
But
full
it's-
circle moment because she's the one who did that to
And
his parents.
right.
And
but
and I
and you
think-
don't really know it.
yeah,
They don't really
Well,
talk much
I
about
think,
it.
and that's the thing where like at the time this film came out, how many books were out?
all of
I
right?
think the
No.
7th one hadn't come out yet. It was
Okay.
going to come out.
So
that
we
summer.
didn't know that
Very
Neville was
soon.
going to have
Yeah.
that giant moment, which is a spoiler.
spoiler.
Yeah. So, but I
Mhm.
was going to say like that's a cool thing because I really liked that. I really liked Neville's part in this a lot because I'm like,
Yeah.
good, he's part of the gang
Well,
kind of.
they
now.
I
also
liked it.
they also explore in the movie, and they do so in the books as well. That Neville, I mean, I think we've talked about this on the episodes before, but that he is basically like 1 degree away from the
Harry Potter.
prophecy being about him.
And they don't.
Yeah.
They do not mention it at all in the 5th movie.
No,
But it is something that's very heavy in the book.
Well,
is-
also they in the book they go a little further into his mom and dad.
Right.
We get to see Saint Mungo's.
It's not
and
called-
that kind of thing.
It's not called Longbottom and the Order of Phoenix.
no.
this
Man,
is
that's a missed opportunity.
It really is, Tom. You should write a
Yeah.
letter.
Yeah.
Neville Longbottom and Dumbledore's army.
Yeah,
It's
there
a-
it is.
Dang it.
This was the movie of if you missed it, then you missed an entire theme of
Yes,
the movie. Like they
Yes,
with Longbottom's parents, they only show him in the
The little
Picture.
picture.
and you basically get their whole history right there.
In
Like
the- in
they were
like
part of
3
the Order of the
sentences.
Phoenix, Bellatrix
made him go mad.
made him tortured him into insanity. Now they're in St. Mungo's, and that's
And scene.
all you get.
I mean,
You got it.
we can go favorite parts all day. I do want to mention just one more. If y'all have one more, I would also say go for it. But for me, it was the dinner scene when Harry first gets to. Well, first of all, getting to see the
Pop alive.
duplex
Oh.
Oh, like,
expand and pop
Grimwald
out.
Grimwald place. So cool.
And then that whole dinner scene where Harry wants to fight and
Sirius is like,
Sirius is really excited about it, gives him the little wink. But then you have that moment in the family tree room, which I think is just
Yeah.
so wonderfully written. And you hear about how, how much Sirius hates Creature because he's racist as hell.
He is
Super racist.
Soup's race.
Yeah. Misremembered something. In the beginning of the film, I was like, oh, I think I liked Creature when I was growing up. And Mike was like, he's pretty racist. And then he was like, I saw it and I was like, yeah, I must be remembering something else. And then it was the other elf,
Winky,
Winky.
who is not mentioned, I think, in
entire
the
series.
I do
movies.
love though that Sirius just
Ever.
get out of here. He's just
Vile creature has been
With
since I
your
was a child.
vitriol.
But then the moment, talking about his parents and how much he like hated growing up there and he ran away from home and where he went was James's. And,
Mhm.
he had at the Potter residence what Harry has at the Weasley residence. And it's just like the moment of sharing that like
Yeah.
neither of their homes were homes and they always found it with someone else.
I don't want to insert myself into this,
Please.
You could insert yourself into me.
because it's very self-serving to do this, but that's exactly how I felt when I got to your parents' house in Oakland or in
Nevada?
Nevada. I felt like
I have a friend like I didn't have a
Sirius running
great.
Yeah,
away
you're
to,
like, this
to the
is
Potter.
great.
It's like this
Yeah.
is home.
Yeah.
I have
Shout
I
out
have a
to
friend
Christy and Mike.
that I basically was raised by their parents.
Yeah.
Like it was just like I spent my time there.
I had great parents, but I felt that way in other kids' houses. Like there was a point where I stopped knocking on the door.
You just went
there-
in.
You just went in, and it was a joke. Now I'm an adult.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
like, that's a little bit invasive, Michael. You shouldn't have done that. But
There's still
I just wanted to give Mike and Christy a shout out
Oh,
because
that's
they
very
made a bed
kind
for
of
me.
you.
They were very
They're
nice.
still your parents are still around, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Didn't
yeah, yeah.
Dee Dee?
So you have great parents, not
Yes.
had.
You just meant in the past they were also great. It's a very
This is
Mitch
probably-
Hedberg way of saying it. I had great parents.
This is
I
a
still
bad
do.
time
I
to
still do, but I
announce.
used to also.
My parents perished. And
Alan perished
They Alan perished.
Into the
into a video
walls.
game.
No, they were in the
anyways.
Ministry of Magic when Voldemort did the whole fireball thing,
Yeah.
and they just happened to be in the office, and they got engulfed. They got engulfed in Mexico.
Anyway.
Favorite characters.
Yeah.
Let's
I also
do.
got to give a shout out to Nymphadora Tongs. 'Cause that's
Whew.
Yeah.
very cool. introducing
Metamorphagus.
her. Yeah.
Let's do two
Two?
characters that aren't Ron, Harry, and Hermione.
Oh, okay.
Hmm.
Because
That's
we
fine.
got a crap ton of characters. in
I
this.
would. This is also the movie where I feel like Gambon starts to come into his own. But I
About
will
fucking
say,
time.
I will say the entire time, and I even said it to Mikey. I kept going. Imagine Richard Harris doing this.
Oh man, that's all I do is imagine.
Imagine
what,
Richard Harris doing anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
Anything.
two characters
Anything
who
at
aren't the big three,
Imagine Sam Harris.
who
Anyways,
aren't the what do they call the Holy Trinity?
Trilogy?
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Holy trilogy.
Josh said he had his. What are
Yeah.
yours?
Mine are Neville and Luna.
Neville.
Neville and Luna.
Okay.
Yeah. Mine are probably Sirius and Luna in this.
Sirius
I
and
think
Luna.
that casting of Luna. I mean, the casting throughout all these movies is pretty. I'd say 99% of the time, pretty like, yep, that's how I imagined. Like, yep, all those three kids. Yep, Hagrid. Yep, that's how I imagined him. Snape. Yes. And Luna is one of those castings where I was like, that's exactly how I pictured her. I think that actress just understood it to this degree that a lot of other kids maybe wouldn't have. That like saying these important and dark things, but in a way that's just kind of like matter of fact.
Mhm.
Like this is just how
'Cause,
the
I
way
mean,
the world is.
I was gonna say because that's what I like about her is that if you break it down, life's pretty dark at sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
and you just kind of like we kind of talk about, you laugh through it.
She's
the dark
loony, Luna Lovegood, but like if you actually get to know her beyond her weird, off-putting personality traits, she's really smart. She's really kind, and a lot of fun.
She also plays narrator in some parts. I think it's at the end of the movie. She's talking to Harry, and she finds her shoes that she's been looking
Yeah,
for.
and she's like
She
sometimes
says,
things
Yeah, so, some things always have a way of coming back around.
Just not the way you
just
think
not
it
the way you think it would.
Mm-hmm.
Now watch the movie again and be thinking about that the whole time.
Yeah.
Um,
I just interrupted you.
No, I was gonna say it's like if you want to go. I would have to say one thing I forgot to mention as favorite parts. I really like the beginning because of Harry and Dudley's.
Oh yeah,
I
the
love
Death
the
Eaters
looking.
bit.
No, I just really liked Dudley's. They're both looking straight into the camera,
Mhm.
and I really liked that's just reminds me of Silence of the Lambs,
Mhm.
and I really like that feeling that like we're getting talked to, and
Yeah.
again it's
And
it's
Dudley
the way.
can't see it, right?
That's why the ministry's like, oh, very smart, call it Dementors because Muggles can't see it.
Yeah.
Favorite character one, probably Snape.
Shout out.
that
Um,
tracks.
Number two, probably Dumbledore.
Yeah.
Voldemort's just not in it enough for me to be a favorite character.
Yeah.
But Dumbledore. So and
That shot of him in the suit, man.
yeah, it's a good look.
Almost
a
enough to
good
make
look.
him a favorite character.
It's a good look.
It's
Just
scary.
by looks alone,
Oh.
just so good.
It's it's unsettling.
Well, it's kind of
Um,
like who's the one that, to me again. It's who's the one is like pushing the plot. Who's
Yeah.
the one that like things are happening because of this character.
You just reminded me of that scene with Dudley where he pulls his wand out and all the friends are laughing,
Freaking out,
but he's like,
he's freaking out. I was like,
Yeah.
Yeah, because he knows.
because he knows, but
He
all his
knows.
friends are like, "Oh, what are you gonna do with the stick?"
it's so wild to see him in Queen's
But I-
Gambit. By the way,
Yeah,
it's so wild.
like he looks so different. But what's interesting about that too is I love when they get to experience the dark part of because
Mhm.
they see letters coming in and all these kinds of things. But no, when they experience like the hardcore parts of Harry's life, it's like, yeah, guys,
yeah, it's
Shout
rough.
out to
Top of the movie.
I can't remember her name who comes in and testifies. but-
Fig.
Fig.
Yeah,
Miss Fig.
Mrs. Fig.
love
She's
her.
the neighbor who like Dumbledore basically assigns
because
because she's
a spy on this kid.
Yeah, she's a squib. I believe she's a squib.
What's
Yeah.
a squib?
Squib is a magical person who can do no magic.
Oh,
So
they were born
Phil-
in the Wizard world.
Yeah.
gotcha.
It's like being an athlete's kid who can't
I was gonna say
be an
they
athlete.
in the movie they make her out to be the woman who collects cans out of your trash can.
I just love
Yeah.
that. Take your wand back out, Harry.
You don't know.
Mrs. Fig.
Yeah.
Top of the movie, the first thing you see is Harry like studying a mother and a daughter. I think
Mhm. Well, he's lonely.
he's
Sad.
very lonely. He's picturing
It's very sad.
what it would be like if he still had his parents.
Who's your- who's
And
your
then the first thing Dudley yells at him is like, "Where's your mum?
crying for
Yeah.
your mom.
Is she dead?"
Who's Cedric? Anyways,
He's your boyfriend.
did you your favorite?
It's
do
your
you favorite?
boyfriend.
He's your boyfriend. Who's
Two-
No,
Cedric?
he didn't say his two favorites.
Two favorite
favorites.
without the Trinity.
I gotta say,
Children G.
I mean, it's easy. It's Sirius and Luna, but and I know I'm gonna
So what's up?
sound very stupid for saying this. I think the perfection of Umbridge.
Deserves credit. For
Deserves a favorite nod because
I think we all agree on that.
she never enters into the story and you don't feel something.
No.
Not
Like,
a favorite
cool.
character, but my God, was that one of the greatest performances?
Because I really did that. Even from the first moment where she goes, well, because the Ministry controls the Dementors, so it sounded like for a moment.
Well, it's like
Just every time she speaks, you kind of like.
Yeah.
Dumbledore's just like, welcome to another year. And
Yeah.
it's like, oh, I want to kick you in the face.
Well,
Yeah.
kudos to whoever wrote the books. Every book has a villain that takes precedence over Voldemort. In the second
distracts
movie,
from the
it's the
growing
Chamber
threat.
of Secrets. What's in there?
Well, that was Voldemort.
It was, but we
technically.
didn't know.
Basilisk.
The third one,
Spatlish.
Sirius
Pettigrew.
Black takes over, and he's now the scary thing. And the fourth one, it's who put his name in the Goblet of Fire. Like, we all assume it's Voldemort, but he's not.
There.
They somehow introduce a new character that you fear more than him. And Umbridge,
Well, in the fourth one, the tournament is that character.
the tournament,
Yeah.
or the whodunit of who put
Surviving
his
it,
name
yeah.
in there. But I loved the newspaper clippings montage introduces every new decree that she introduces that basically puts more restrictions on the
Yeah.
children.
And all the different posts and signs.
The
and
reason
stuff.
why they fly Thestrals to get to the Ministry is because she has taken everyone's brooms. You only
and,
see it
she,
in a
and, she,
snippet.
and she monitors all the flu networks.
Right. So that was what the coolest part about the Weasley twins doing the, they didn't make the swamp, but they did the fireworks and then they flew
Yeah.
off. They had to summon their own brooms out of
Brilliant.
her office. I can't remember how they did that. I think they snuck
remember.
into her office to get them and snuck
Sounds
out
about
of
right.
it through
Probably
the flu
used
network.
The map.
I
Rod's
think
map.
so. But yeah, Sirius, because you finally get to see him as the human. You get context as to why
The
he
uncle
is.
that you're like, oh,
He's just so cool and magical,
God.
but he also is flawed.
well, the Godfather. I mean,
The way he treats Creature, Dumbledore eventually will talk about and say, like, it's not how you treat your equals, it's how you treat those less than you is what makes you, that is your character.
Yeah. But I mean, he's
And
pretty racist.
Even Sirius is a little bit like,
well,
But even then, Creature, I mean, he could. Let's,
in the books, I mean, Creature's the reason Sirius dies. Because
he
Creature
rats-
lies to Harry to
Creature-
tell him,
yeah.
like, oh, yeah, he's there. Or he's not here. When he was at Grimmauld Place, but Creature's like, oh, no, he's not here.
and technically he doesn't have to tell the truth because Harry is not his master.
Yeah.
And my question is this: let's do a little thought experience. I know we're
Sure.
running on time.
Yeah.
But what would happen if Creature was like given freedom? Would he be still a good little boy?
He would go straight.
No.
to Voldemort.
Death Eaters, for sure.
Yeah, he would go
Okay.
straight to the bad guys.
I don't know. That's the thing about those house elves is they're so
But
that's like Stockholm syndrome that they
Well,
stay no matter what.
He would stay. I mean, he would. Yeah, that's true.
Well,
His
'cause-
house is number 12. I don't know if he'd have the.
He
guts
hates
to leave.
he hates mudbloods.
Well,
Well,
which
He would fit right in with all the Death Eaters who are like real wizards only. And he was like,
He would probably be a house elf there.
I can
fair.
see that.
Yeah, like he would say, he would be in his mind. He's like he's serving
the Dark
his
Lord.
master by serving the Dark Lord
Yeah.
and the Death Eaters and
Yeah.
like he's
so.
continuing his I forget her
Loyalty?
name, his loyalty to the household of Black
yeah.
by serving Bellatrix.
Oh, because
Does
it's the
he
same
eventually-
tree.
I'm
No,
just
we're just
saying,
theoretically-
Yeah, I'm just thinking
theoretically,
because like,
See,
and that's
that's-
the thing where it's like your point of like Sirius treats Creature terribly, but I'm like, but Creature's a terrible creature.
Yes.
But then it's like, but
Well,
what if
because-
Creature was given the opportunities to be good? Would he still be good? And that's
No,
the
because
question.
No,
He's
because he's
racist.
loyal to. But that's the thing is, it's the loyalty part. It's sort of like the episode of Always Sunny when Mac just blindly does whatever Dennis tells him he's
Yeah.
allowed to do.
do you want me to throw this water in his face? Don't ask, do.
Donuts do. The house elves only do what they're trained to do, and Sirius's mom raised Creature to be that. That's all
Sure.
he knows. So if he was
Yeah.
outside of the house, I don't know if he would.
And
be
he
able
hated
to
his
implore
parents.
But
or employ
wouldn't
that.
now serving Sirius, if we're going off serving his master, wouldn't he stop those tendencies because Sirius doesn't believe in that stuff?
I think once they're in it, and
I mean,
that's
But that's what I'm saying. If he were freed, then he still believes all those things, even if it was
and
what
plus
he
he's
was
old
trained.
as
he's
Yeah.
really.
I
he's
think
really
that's
super old.
also maybe a little microcosm story of like, how Harry's dealing with like, I'm very much like Voldemort. And it's like, I don't know how I can change that. And he feels somehow locked to this destiny that he'll become the next Voldemort, which is like Creature. It's like, he does not see the fact that he doesn't have to be as evil as the
Mhm.
Black Sirius Black's parents, and Sirius Black hates his parents.
I mean, the parents kept the heads of house elves on the staircases.
Bonnie and I froze
Still
it, and we were
strange.
like,
Yeah.
"That's weird."
Yeah.
And it's in the
That's-
books, though, right?
I
It's
think
just
so.
doesn't.
And Sirius hasn't
describe
changed
it so
anything because he
grotesque.
doesn't. He hates that place,
yeah.
so he doesn't take care of it.
I'm not even gonna
He's
pay
like,
for
fuck
the
this place.
storage. I don't
But
care.
how so?
Uh,
That's an interesting like theoretical debate because even you have Winky in the fourth who never goes against Barty Crouch despite
Spoilers.
Isn't Dobby like, I'm out?
Dobby's like I need to get paid for this. Let's make that break.
But he's
y'all.
also like, Harry's the one that freed me, so I will simp for
I mean,
Harry.
the thing is, it's like
Harry's
it's a
his
part of
friend.
their
yeah.
It's
It's
the
a part
first
of-
friend he has.
Yeah.
it's a part of their species or their race to serve.
Yeah.
Even though there is a clause that's like, hey, you can be freed. Like it's kind of a part of their mentality and a part of their culture to serve.
It's very much like
So-
the I forget what the name of the conversation, but it's like people who have been in prison for a very
Mm.
long time and they go out on the
Isn't
outside.
that one of Hermione's
It's a little
points?
Stockholmy.
Stockholm.
Like, isn't that a part of her point of just like the servitude? Like, I don't know. Anyway,
Anyways,
Anyway,
qualms.
I have one.
Yes, please.
And I don't remember if this is in the book, so you guys can remind me. But it always bothered me in the movie that they're able to just blast through the wall to get to the room of requirement. Like I thought the magic of that room
We're
was
supposed
that
to move it.
it doesn't actually just exist behind the wall. It can exist anywhere when you need it.
Yes.
So how do they just blast through the side of the wall and find the room there?
I think in the book, somebody catches somebody physically, like by the shirt when they're trying to go through the wall. And that's how
But they don't blast through it like this. Like
Correct.
The door isn't there, and she's just able to like sledgehammer through. Because
think-
in reality, it wouldn't actually be
Because
on the other
the-
side.
because
It's a
the-
dimension thing.
Well,
right?
because the entrance and exit can move.
Well, it's,
Yeah,
'cause of
it's
the
like
door.
there's book logic. There's what happens in the book of like it can be anywhere you need it. It can be whatever you need it. And then there's the logic that they built in the movie where it's like it's
Right.
still a room, whether it's a broom, whether it's this huge storage closet,
but I believe
whether
they
it's this.
say where and when you need it.
I
It's
mean, I don't
in the
remember that.
movie they say like it's a magical room that it shows up when a student really needs it. So it wants Hogwarts wants the students to fight back. But to your
In
point,
the,
I
in
get
the movie series, it's in the same wall throughout the
I think
whole.
it is in the same
it just bugs me
location, but-
because the door would open always in the same spot for them in the room, but it moved to a different place.
when they had to leave.
So
I mean, if
there
with-
wouldn't be like a section you could just hit that would always line. I don't know. It bugged me that it was like
It's a dissonance.
it went from a real illogical thing, magically illogical and not a problem, to this suddenly like this is the front door. We're gonna just blast through it even though the door's not here. Typically, it would just be nothing. It would just be nothing behind the wall.
This is the first that I think I've thought about it this deeply, and I would have to agree.
Because
That's
otherwise,
gonna mess with me now every time I see it.
otherwise they would have just destroyed that room a long time
Why didn't
ago.
Phil say this earlier?
Yeah.
Because it's not.
If the room actually exists on the other side of that wall,
Then you
then
just
they
know
would
there's
have
a-
known. They would have.
Well, I mean, it exists by the basis of what they're using it for.
Right. So then
like
a
it's-
real room doesn't actually exist in there.
Yeah, if they know that
It always
students are in there, they
changes
can
and-
They're
always.
using it as a training room, so it's taking up that space by how they need
Right,
it.
and
But
if
if it was a
physically there's
toilet, it would
wall.
only be,
it'd be
a
a toilet.
toilet.
and if it's
so
if
it
you need a
can
broom cupboard, then it'll be a broom
change-
cupboard.
so
Yeah,
it
but
wouldn't
when it's
physically-
being used as a bathroom, it's that small. It's being used as a training space. It's this big, so now there is a wall.
But let's say
This
someone
conversation
what
is
someone
awesome.
needed in that moment was 4 miles of a track.
It brings up a question: is it
then it
only
couldn't
one
fit
person's
within
desire?
those. But I'm just
Like,
it-
what if somebody walks down, like Ron says, what if you really need the bathroom, but somebody's already using it as a training space?
Sure.
Does it change for the student that needs
Exactly.
a bathroom?
I
Does
think
it
we've
move
stumbled
up?
on a fun sketch idea.
Yeah. so, but like my point is,
Storyboard comedy.
it the size of those 4 walls can't possibly contain whatever's needed always. So there is a space and time thing that needs to dissociate from those things. So the fact that they just found a wall and punched through it to find the room of
It
Does
sounds
the
requirement.
room go car and
It's-
like move?
It
Well,
sounds,
you know what I
it
mean?
sounds like we need the Ask a Floor Plans.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
Professor New Eyes to cast that dream.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
Order the blueprints.
maybe this is some bit of explanation. Filch knew where the wall was because he found Neville going in there,
Mm-hmm.
and then waited outside of it, so they knew where the wall would be. But that didn't happen in the book, I don't believe. I don't think he was onto them quite like that. So much as it was 100% Marietta spilled the beans,
Right.
and then they just went,
They
but
caught someone.
and then caught somebody. But it's an interesting question. If there's people in the room of requirement, can you then break down that wall? Because when people are in it, it exists. When no one's in it, it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
I'm assuming it's like the chimney in Santa Claus.
Yeah, right.
There's no chimney, so it just apparates chimney.
Yeah.
And then
Becomes
and then he leaves, and
So
there's no chimney.
that's my
anymore.
only qualm is that it was just like, oh, they could have just knocked down the wall the whole time.
That would be one. That
Seems
would be,
like an too easy of a fix for what that room is supposed to be.
I mean, and that's kind of the thing, which happens with like.
So it is a real room.
Well, that's
and then
what
once the wall's open, what does the room change to then? It's just that room now forever?
I mean, that's kind of the thing. What happens
good.
with
it's
soft
like time travel.
with soft magic.
A lot of
yeah.
holes.
Don't
It's-
mess with it.
When there's
Yeah.
hard magic, there's hardline rules.
or like if you broke down the wall, does the room stop existing?
Well, but the thing is like when
Santa Claus.
the later that we explore and that we've explored already a little bit, but much more later in the books is the storage room. That room is massive,
Mhm.
cathedral huge.
Yes.
So it's like, does that room exist? And but we're dealing with the magical world, so it's like,
Schrodinger's
Is
room.
it
But that's
taking
not
up
one
space?
that technically like moves. That's a fixed one.
Mhm.
This one is supposed to move.
but that is the room of requirement
Right.
doing what it does.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, is it just a void that's taking up space?
I think it's like a black hole.
Well, I think Corey at first was saying like it's supposed to be a pocket dimension. It's folded onto itself that like we cannot actually access.
It's
unless
not on
unless
the
we need it.
science.
It's not in the Marauders map. I don't think.
No, like you shouldn't be able to access it unless you need it, and blasting through a wall is not needed.
Unless
Yeah.
you're
So-
Superboy Prime, who can.
I would
punch through a
almost
dimension.
think that them blasting through a wall would lead to nothingness, and they would still be able to exit the room from a different side.
You would think. But
So
they
anyway,
needed to be
that's
taught-
my qualm.
That's
though.
a fun qualm, and I know this is probably a bad time to bring it up, but what would you guys make your room of requirement be?
whatever I needed, isn't it? Do I get to choose?
What
right
do you
now,
need-
if
what do-
you were
what
like,
do you
man, I
need?"
could really use
Oh man, a
this."
studio,
Oh,
full studio.
Okay.
We could film and record and do everything in an editing bay and all that kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
mine would be a massive studio that Storyboard could film in, Nerd On could film in. It's just this massive space,
Love that.
Creative
that-
space.
creative
Tom?
space that
Since they just took that one,
because we can't all share the same thing.
No,
I mean,
only
I'll-
Josh and
I'm-
I can share answers.
I'm gonna do one that's also probably the same thing you want. A freaking giant 40-acre cabana like awesome house
right
that I
on the
could-
beach, boy.
that
Yeah.
I
that
can
sounds-
have,
yeah, that
and
sounds
that everyone
good.
could just live in.
All right, that's a good one.
I'd probably go like a Paquito Mas,
Oh my god,
or just anywhere I can get a good burrito.
Yeah.
I love a burrito.
Yeah.
Josh loves Mexican food.
Yeah. A burrito or a place where
Burgers never say
I can
die.
jam with my friends. Because up until what you just said and what y'all said, I didn't even consider friends in this. I was just like, man, I can really go for a burrito right now. And then there's a burrito. That sounds great to me.
That's right. We got the creative space down. He's got the vacation. You got the food. We're
Snacks,
set.
baby. Yeah.
We just can't all
Now
operate
I
at the same
really
time.
want.
That was
Tito
my
Mas
anyway.
tacos.
That was my qualm. Let me pass it off here.
Josh.
I really can't stand the creature CGIs in this.
Mm.
Grop and the centaurs. Every time I see them, I'm just like, this sounds so like
No.
really judgmental, but I'm just kind of like, bleh.
Well, no,
They
and
just
that,
look.
I felt
When did this
so
come out?
I
fake.
felt similar. Where I was
When did
like,
it come
didn't the CGI in the other films feel better?
Yeah,
Like the dragon looked better.
I think that's why I was so surprised. Like the dragons in the previous one look so dope. I was like, those are
and
dope
also
looking.
the what's in the is troll in the dungeon
Troll
in the
dungeon.
looked way better than
Dungeon.
Grop.
Yeah,
Way better than Grop.
it just felt like,
like
it's like the rendering wasn't finished in a sense of like.
What year did
making
this
it
come out?
sort
I'm
of
so
the-
sorry.
It's 2007.
2000.
you read the
7.
production, man.
Okay. I know I did.
July
I don't
11th.
remember.
So it was just they're
Yeah.
yeah because there's some movies that came out before that have
Lord of the
better
Rings.
that have better CGI creature design that you're like, where's the disconnect? It's just
Yeah.
like
I think to
like-
Tom's point again, new director, new writer,
A lot of
a
uphill.
lot of uphill battles.
and the editor also is brand new.
Yeah.
The editor is not the same. So Steve Clovis, normally the writer,
yeah.
and the editor, I have no
It's
idea.
just always anytime I watch it, like I like a lot of this movie. There's a lot of like the Dumbledore's and
Clap.
Tom fight.
Oh.
Like
It looks
the
great.
wand fight looks amazing,
amazing.
and you're like, you guys can do a fireball or the smoke,
The water.
the Death Eaters coming and going as smoke and flying as smoke.
Oh, and then
looks
the light, the
seamless.
darkened light
Yeah.
is so
Yeah,
good.
Corey
It looks
re-
seamless.
recognized something that was very cool.
The Order
Yeah.
of the Phoenix is all light.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and the Death Eaters are all shadow.
Yeah.
Which is a
It's
nice little yin
black
and yang.
smoky.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there are certain things CGI wise that you're like, that looks dope, and then you have like Grop and the.
That's exactly what it is.
No,
Tom's
it-
going like,
no,
I guess.
it's exactly what it is. I would have wanted it like red and blue
Sure.
instead, only
Who
because
cares what you like?
I know.
I'm just kidding.
only because black and white is just like and that's the thing where like
It's a stereotypical evil and
exactly, it's just a little too easy, and I get it, but it's like yeah, Voldemort's super Nazi, and
Yeah.
it's just like yeah, but I'm like we can't. Anyways,
You should direct it.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. You also you're dealing with a magical world where white magic, black magic are a thing.
Literally a
so
thing.
it's
yeah.
literally like it's just kind of like
in
built
this world,
into
good
it.
magic is Patronus. It's the light.
I mean, yeah, we'll talk about it. Do you have
Anyway.
any other qualms?
No, not really. No.
Mikey?
Michael?
I'm gonna go to you. You want to do yours real quick?
If you want. Hey, you're the guest, baby. You want me to go first?
Yeah.
Yeah, you go. Ahead.
This is more of a question. Someone calls Harry Potter a half-breed.
Mm-mm.
I don't remember that.
Someone calls Harry Potter a half-breed. I'm
Half
like,
blood.
half-blood, yeah.
Mhm.
What's a half-blood?
Half blood is or dirty blood. He's not 100% wizard because his mom is Muggle-born.
Got it. Because I was like, I thought he was what? So
His
I'll-
parents are
forget.
both technically wizards,
That's-
but his bloodline is not pure.
pure.
Yeah.
God, how fucking.
That's why his parents got
No,
killed by
that's-
Voldemort.
I know. But, well, I'm just thinking about. I'm like, God,
I mean, they stood up against him, but that's also they.
AKA the requirements to be a pure blood. Jesus,
Yeah.
that gene pool.
I mean, that's why you got all the pure blonde
Yeah.
Lucius and Draco are like.
that's why it's.
pure.
Oh, this is Nazis. I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First qualm is I don't think I got enough Sirius.
Mm-hmm.
I think him
Yeah.
dying was almost like anticlimactic.
Mm.
That for me, because I'm like, I didn't feel like, because I was like, okay, cool, we're gonna get more of him. And I hate to make this weird comparison, but like Age of Ultron with Hawkeye, it made me feel like, oh, he's gonna die. He's for oh no, we see his no. Here I was like, yeah, Sirius gets to play because he wasn't
Well, I mean,
really in the
that's-
fourth movie, and I'm like, okay, now we get to see him, and then he just dies. I'm like,
Well, I mean, that's kind of an experience of reading the books too.
yeah, no,
Where
and I
you're
know
just
in the
like-
books he's so much more. And-
I'm fine. The
Oh, Josh, Josh, just doing the thing you do to us every day. Calm the fuck down.
Veins
Please
in
tell me
her
the book.
arms are
but like
pulsing.
that's the experience of reading the books too, where you're like, "Yay, we got Sirius! Yay!"
Because he plays
And
like
he's gone.
because he plays such like
Right.
a back seat in the fourth one, and so you're like, but I want more of him because he was so like, oh, Harry has
Finally,
family,
Harry has somebody.
family,
Yeah.
And then here I was like, okay, Harry's gonna have. I just wanted more moments with him and Sirius. So when it happens, I wanted to be destroyed. But then here I was just watching this, and I was kind of like, I know he's gonna die. And I feel like I would want this. Well, like I felt more sorry for Harry when like he's like, I don't know who I am. But I'm like, I get that.
It's the plight of being a Sirius fan.
Yeah.
Like you're just like, I love him so much,
Oh.
and then you read the book and you're like,
I'm a huge Sirius Black fan, and that's the thing I wanted more from the film. Of like, I wanted to feel like
I remember
gutted.
when this book came out, and I think one of my friends, like, I devoured these books when they came out,
Mhm.
like day of, like weekend of, and one of my friends like finished like a few hours before me, and like didn't give me the detail, but they were like,
Don't talk to me. Don't talk to me.
it was ruined for
Mm.
me before I
Oh
read the
no.
book, yeah.
"Oh,
Bummer.
I was at a basketball game at our high school, and I had just got the book, and a friend of mine let it slip, and she was mortified
to you?
for like weeks. No, it was just it was an accident. They were
They were
somehow
just
the-
talking with you about
the
it
book
and-
came up, and then she was like, "Oh my god!" But it was so sad, and like before I could cover my ears, like
Okay,
where
so sad when Sirius
cool
got killed
beans. And then the same thing happened in the sixth one.
by
Wow.
Bellatrix Lestrange while defending Harry Potter at the Ministry
Yeah.
of Magic.
on
And you're
page
like,
on page 874.
And you know, oh, if somebody told you the page number, that would
You're
suck.
like, oh fuck
You're like,
my
you're reading each
life.
page
Like,
and
watch, yeah, watch out for page 706.
Oh
no.
Can I read this backwards? Anyways, but no, and that's the thing. I didn't finish the book, right? Because, and I feel like the same issues with the book happened in the movie, where like this was the one that I'm like is the most like, oh my god, get on with it. Because I remember just like literally the first time getting in the house, like when the house opens up, and that's when they and I dropped the book. I was like, I'm over it.
Oh.
I didn't go any further into it. I was like, dude,
so much story.
well, so
so
this is
much.
the thing, and it's not no one's fault. And I'll say it like this: at the end of Goblet of Fire, I'm like, yo, this is about to go down. Voldemort about to be marking some people, and Harry's got to fight for his life. And then it's like, let's go rescue
We
him
still got
from
3
his
more
dad."
years to get through, Tom. We got to
School doesn't matter when Hitler's back, right? Like, and the thing is that no one but Harry and all the friends know about this, right? So they're like, no, school isn't a thing anymore, guys. Like,
We have book deals to meet, Tom.
and I'll say it like this: hey, look, y'all, there was a worldwide thing that happened, and schools got canceled for a couple months. Like a guy,
School doesn't matter when Hitler's back.
You heard it here,
y'all gotta
folks.
take them down. Task force this. You know what I'm saying? Like, nuh-uh, right? But like again, they're fighting misinformation, stupid paranoia. So I was like, okay, but then that's just to that point. It's like, Tom, we have 3 more years of school. I'm like,
Yeah.
no, school doesn't matter.
Did you have another one?
So my second one,
Wait, so what was your first qualm?
first one is
Not enough
Not enough
serious.
serious.
Forgot.
Well, it became another thing. Second one, oh no, this was the second one. Is that this is just kind of it's kind of like
So they kind of
bulky
bled
and
together.
long,
Got it.
and it's just like it has some of the worst parts of the book in that aspect. It feels very sluggish in terms of its pacing, which
Yeah, I would say my second qualm is that they don't explain the prophecies very well.
At all.
well, and that's
Like I didn't.
At
I had to
all.
ask him. I was like, "What are these
It's-
again?"
well, you
And
just
they
hear
kind of did it backwards in the movie. You don't know it was in the prophecy in the books until after it's smashed. In this, we knew what the prophecy was before it smashed.
Yeah,
Little
but I
things
didn't
like that.
understand
Well,
what they were.
because all you heard was
Right.
a vision of Voldemort's like, I need that prophecy. He's like, you better kill me for it. That's
Yeah.
all you know. It's like,
I would have
Sirius
loved,
is in
I
trouble.
would loved a little more like like if Voldemort gets his hands on those prophecies,
and that,
something a little longer.
Well, there's a lot more like lore and so to speak that go with the prophecy
Right.
that you don't, like you were explaining, like Neville, that has been mentioned. Neville is a huge part potentially of the prophecy,
Yeah.
and we don't get any of that.
Right.
no, yeah, and that's the thing where it's like the other films have lore and prophecy and stuff like too. We
But I
won't
don't
go into
remember if it's this book that they talk about that, or if it's later that we find out. Like,
It might be later, but I that's a good question. I think it's. I mean, you might as well say it's this one. But the reason why Harry is called the chosen one is not because the prophecy chose him, but because Voldemort chose him.
yeah,
That was how close it came down to Harry and Neville.
Right.
He could have chosen Neville, and it would have
potentially gone to
Neville
Neville
Longbottom and the Chamber of
Order of the
Secrets.
Phoenix.
Yeah. So it is something. Just like in the third movie, they barely talk
He
about
chose him.
the
Sorry, he
formation
chose
of
him
the
in what
monarchs.
way?
When Voldemort heard the prophecy from Trelawney,
Back
all
when
the
he was a
only
babe. Back when Harry Potter was a babe.
the only information he had was that there was a baby that was born in July, to 2 wizards in this area or something like that.
Hmm.
Like basically, the information was identical to
Neville's.
Neville's. But what Voldemort decided that Harry was the threat.
Hmm.
So by attacking Harry, he set the curse.
Yeah.
And made Harry I can't.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no
We can't.
spoilers.
We'll go
I
into
can't-
that.
Yeah, we'll go into that later. But
But also
so
doomed
that's
himself.
an
Yes.
extremely cool part of the book. But I didn't read this book before this episode for that reason. I didn't want to compare them like I did for the previous episodes because there's so much of the book, the lore, and like why everything
Sure.
is so cool that you just don't have time to mention.
So
Yeah,
I'd say that
it's
was my
in
second one.
the movie.
I wish they taught about the prophecies more because it is a big point of the
It's
story.
huge, and it makes all the Deadwood of the book feel so much more useful and necessary.
Did you have any qualms specifically, or kind of just what
If you can
we said, or
rapid fire 'em.
If I had any qualms, I would have more qualms if I did read the book.
Well,
sure? Yeah, right.
Before this, so I could compare all the parts that are
Yeah.
lost.
But
there's
as
characters that
as
are
a
cut like
film-
Ferenz being a
For-
teacher.
Ferenz
Right.
not being there, and like
we
cool.
talked about that even.
and Bane, one of the head centaurs,
Break-
like
break those
from
kind of
Santa Prisca?
excommunicated Ferenz because Ferenz wanted to help the kids.
Yeah.
There's so much more story that is left out, but
So just the movie.
I don't
Not specifically.
really have a lot of
just like the
qualms.
prophecy stuff and the
Yeah, I'll say that. Now this isn't really a qualm, but this is like come on, and it is Neville's story that they rewrote Neville's story to be
Sure.
more positive, and he has his great arc, and now he's standing up for
Well, they
himself.
did that in Goblet too, where it's like
yeah.
Neville provided this thing. and
Yeah.
it's like oh,
They kind of, and it's nice. I like it.
I do miss
But
the
it
little
is-
bit of Neville that they freeze in the hallway, and that Neville.
Oh, in the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah. When
Sorry,
yeah.
Neville.
It's always
Well,
me.
they could be just creating another Snape if that's the
Yeah.
case.
Fair. So I don't know if I have so many qualms of this movie. The CGI bothers me, but I think if I watched this movie again and studied the themes, just like the third one, there's so many cooler themes and like, the artistic design, the directing is just magnificent. That I actually rewatching this one, I had a lot of fun watching it.
Dope.
But the qualm will always be in every movie. I wish that the movie could have been a series so we could have had all the information and seen everything. And I always say, I wish the movies were identical to the books so people could realize how cool the books were who didn't want to read them.
Yeah.
But yeah, not really a lot of
The
qualms.
longest book ends up being one of the shortest movies.
Yeah.
That is, yeah. So I think
Definitely
my
an
qualm
Achilles
is just
heel.
I wish it had
Yeah.
more.
Doesn't
I
work
wish there
for
was
us.
more.
That brings us to our ratings then.
So
So Josh and I will go first. You want me to go first? You first.
You first.
4.4.
4.4 for the core.
Yeah. I like it. I like it a lot. I have a lot of fun.
Do you love it?
Love the book. Like the movie. 4.4 is still high score in my book. Anything over 4. But yeah. Go ahead.
Please.
I was just gonna say we're getting into the later books that end up being my favorite. For me, like Bonnie always says that the second one is her favorite, and I'm starting to get to where these are. I like it when it gets dark.
Sure.
Yeah,
For
same.
me, mine's very close, 4.5.
Yeah.
4.5.
It was between that and
for
this,
the
and it just
Josh.
because of the
Mike-
prophecy thing, it fell a little short. I was like, that's such a
Mikey-
key point.
You or me, sir, boy, Michael.
I'll give mine just so it's not influenced by yours, but
Okay.
I was gonna give it a 4 or 5 anyways.
Okay.
4.5.
Yeah,
4.5?
and I'll say that
45?
I give it a 45.
Out of 5.
I'm a
Oh,
bit
45.
I'm a bit eccentric.
A little Potterhead.
I think what made up for the part of the stories that was a little bit left out or glossed over or
Lacking.
sped through
Yeah.
was the cinematography and locations. This is the first time that we do see them fly through like the Muggle town of
Yeah.
London.
Right. Yeah.
And
getting to
it's
see
one of my
London.
favorite
really
short
cool.
sequences
Yeah.
in any movie.
It's kind of like in Azkaban with the bus.
Yeah.
It's going through. You're like, this is.
but
I want-
flying by the it's not Buckingham Palace, it's the Parliament, right?
Yeah,
the one that's right
Parliament
on River Thames.
Yeah.
Every time I see it, and now that I've been there,
And
I wanna
the
go
Wizard
back
Ministry is
so bad-
underneath
and it's
the
underground.
real ministry in England.
the set design, and we watched some of the behind the scenes. This is going to make up for my score. The set design of the Ministry of Magic is so damn cool.
It's a
Yeah.
4.5.
It's his score.
I probably would
have
have
the same
given
score.
for
He's
the
just-
for
for
the
his
storyline.
personal-
I probably would have given it a 4. But because of all this extra stuff and making the
giving it a
world
4 or
just
5.
that
He's
much
saying that's what makes
that-
up his
that's
score.
what
not
makes up my
for
score.
his
Got it.
score.
is the
Boosts
extra
it.
stuff that they did, and like the
The
fight
details.
didn't have to be that cool,
No, it didn't. They went hard on
and
that.
the Ministry of Magic didn't have to be that.
Intricate.
I was gonna say granular.
Oh,
like
yeah.
it's so specific. You even they took you inside one of the offices. That is, they didn't need to set that. They didn't need to dress that, but
No.
they did. It's little things like that that made the movie that much cooler for me.
Also, the lovely part of what's Weasley dad name?
Arthur.
Arthur enjoying going through the subway.
The turnstiles.
that kind of
Yeah.
stuff.
Well, you're
Like-
talking about that. He's a wonderful foil in these stories because you have everything is so amazing about the wizarding world.
He's Harry.
And then you have this guy being like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
And like trying to tap
Ingenious
in and go
muggle.
through. Yeah.
Ingenious.
But my number, it is a solid 4.
Yeah,
It's
4.
a solid 4.
Fair.
To me, this
So
is
that
like,
means wait, let me see here. Yep,
We would've
Mikey and
tied.
I got it right.
this is like
Guess that grump.
and I feel I'm going to say it, and I feel really bad to say these things, but this is kind of like you're a 4 because you're part of the Harry Potter series.
Otherwise, you'd be a 3.
or else you'd be lower.
Oh, okay.
And that's the thing where it's
Wow.
like they're not. Again, that's the thing about all the Harry Potter movies. They're not bad, but this is definitely to me the weakest one, which is way better than a lot of movies that come out in the world.
Sure.
But there's also some things, and there's I feel, and again, we talked a little bit about magic, white magic, black magic, and all that stuff. I'm like, if you had red and blue, you had orange and green, kind of going along with the themes and stuff like that. It's like it makes it a little, and again, that's kind of the source material. It's kind of also like what this kind of fantasies kind of say. It's like there's something really interesting of being like the way that you're good is because you're so different.
Yeah.
Versus the things that bring us together as people should be the things that we share.
Right,
and-
because they use when they're casting the Killing Curse, it's green, right? So what if the Death Eater shadows were green? And
well, because
what is-
everything
what is-
in Goblet of Fire is green.
sure, but I'm
Yes.
just saying, like what, and then what if the Order of the Phoenix? What if they were all what is it red that
And then
they used to defend it against it? It's like
Yeah.
a red beam, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
the stunning spell.
Yeah,
Or-
well, whatever Dumbledore is casting, the red and the green meet in the middle.
Oh,
and
and I'll say
Priority
like
and
I'll say like this:
confusion.
patterns are important, and it's just like black, white, very binary. And it's
Sure.
like I understand like you have to show who the good guys are, who the bad guys are, but I think there's almost an opportunity to be like the reason why bad guys are because of just the choices they made.
yeah,
And there's something to be said that Harry Potter chooses to be good
yeah,
versus Voldemort chooses
Well, that's
to be
the
bad.
theme. That's what it's.
Yeah.
It's not what
Yeah.
you're alike. It's not how you're alike. It's how you're different. It was the.
And it's like, but the way they have it's like what you have makes you like someone who doesn't have friends and family is kind of destined to become evil, and it's
All
really,
orphans turn out bad.
and that's tough to say for Neville.
Annie.
It's tough to say for Sirius, right? And it's like it's their choices that they made to keep people around versus to use people, manipulate it. And that's why, like for me, it's like it's a little hard in that sense, but like, and that's the thing where like, it is younger fantasy maturing into older mature fantasy. So
Yeah.
I'm like, I have to give it that
I'm
leeway.
I'm just a little confused on what the your qualm is because
Oh no,
it's a-
it's not a qualm, but it's more like
sorry, your
I would
reasoning.
want.
It's you don't like that the friends and family message is there.
it's like he has it. It's not that he chooses to keep them around because in parts of it he's kind of pushing them away. And Voldemort is shown without that stuff, and it's like, is it because he's ugly or is it because he's just evil man? So he's not allowed to have friends.
It's not that he just that he doesn't care for anyone. Like if Bellatrix died, I don't think he would care.
He wouldn't.
And
He's
I
only
think that's
about
the
yeah, no.
point is that
No, that's
Harry-
why he says like you should kill her.
It's not that you don't have if you don't have friends, you're a bad person. It's the lack of caring or understanding that
Empathy.
empathy
Well,
is.
Harry
is,
says
is
it at the end of the
power.
book. You know, we have something worth fighting for: family, friends. You know that like the most important thing to Harry is friendship and family
Yeah.
because it's something he has not had. But it's an interesting dichotomy with what you do with that loneliness. And yeah,
Yeah.
Voldemort chose to be powerful in spite of his lack of friendship, and Harry didn't want anything to do with power or.
Well, again, I kind of
Fame
feel
or
like
anything.
there are so many examples like Neville, Snape, all these loners that
Mhm.
kind of like chose to do the good thing.
Well, it also
Right,
depends.
but they-
It brings
sorry,
in
go
it brings in nature versus nurture
Mhm.
Right.
and who you're around. Like though the Dursleys
Malfoy.
suck, they weren't racist. Like the people that were around Tom Riddle,
Yeah.
people that he was
But
kind
I-
of around.
Yeah, I would argue though that Snape and Neville aren't loners. They do have friends. They do have people. I mean, in a sense, without too many spoilers, Snape has people who love him dearly. Same with Neville. I mean, the three main characters care deeply about Neville. He's a friend of theirs. So I think I do understand your point. I just wanted to make sure I got it right.
Yeah, it's a little, and that's the thing. It's like I can't blame it, and it's part of its DNA. But
yeah,
it's
it's
something
the
that,
young adult. Yeah,
Well, and that's the thing where it's like I don't want to dismiss it too. Where it's like fantasy storytelling is going to follow certain rules.
yeah. And I'm not trying to grill you. I'm just
Oh, yeah.
like I think it's a fascinating point.
No,
I
yeah.
wanted to talk
Well,
about
I mean
it.
that's the thing where it's like with the black and white smoke, and it's like
Yeah.
it should be black and white, but also it could have been something different.
Sure.
Because black and white is so good versus evil instead of like one like fascism versus like freedom.
Yeah,
Like it should be more of ideologies instead of like I'm an evil person
yeah.
and I know I'm evil. It's like
Yeah.
no,
That's fair.
I feel like
Yeah.
it's like I'm trying to.
But
do,
in that young adult thing
Yeah.
again, they are called Death Eaters.
Yeah.
So at the same time,
it's like I come from Mount Doom.
Yeah.
I know what
Right,
I'm doing.
exactly.
I understand the assignment.
But is this wrong? I've never noticed the colors before. Was it a choice to make them subtle so it would be subtle and you wouldn't notice it?
It's not subtle.
I've never noticed
To me,
it.
that's
Yeah.
not subtle.
You had to point it out for me to recognize that there was a
In
white and
film
black.
language, it's not subtle. So if you
Ah,
are
okay.
someone who studies film, it's not a subtle thing. There's a
Okay.
lot. There's always like think about those old westerns where the bad guy's all in black and the good guy's all in white. Then you're like,
That's
I know
fair.
who's who.
That's fair.
Well, I
Very
mean, and that's
cool.
why
He's riding a white horse.
That's why
Yeah.
everyone liked the good guys in black because it was like, oh, they're willing to break the law. But that's also why Christmas colors work, right? Red and
Yeah.
green because they're opposing colors.
I have a question.
Yeah, Saruman
has
all
not
in, I
been-
mean, Sauron all in black, Gandalf the white. Phew. Good and
Right.
evil.
Right.
Your question?
Yeah.
maybe I was just absent-minded watching this. Did we not see much Malfoy in this movie?
We saw him one time.
We
At
see
the very
I think
beginning.
we see him
Very little
twice.
Malfoy.
Very little Malfoy.
3 times.
Yeah, 2 or
And
3
he's more
times.
so like
holding
a prop,
show.
so to speak.
He's a bit of a
like,
prop.
He's being badged. He's like
Umbridge
looking
uses
in.
him
Yeah,
to, you know.
he's not in it
yeah.
much.
He's pretty much saying Harry's like, I'm surprised they allowed you to be here, and I'm going to hold your girlfriend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello, Potter. I'm the new
Potter.
whole monitor, man.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Yeah.
Yeah. Uncanny.
finally we did rate.
That was it.
The ratings.
That was it.
That was
Tom
it.
was the grump.
Cool. I am the grump.
Awesome.
Mikey, thank you for coming back, man.
Man, thanks you guys for having me so much.
We'll do it again.
That sentence.
Yeah, we'll do it. Maybe
do it again.
Maybe we'll
Maybe
do it
3
3 more times.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll do it 3 more
At
times.
least.
and then we'll have to find something else.
Next time
Well,
I will have read the book
Fantastic
because I
Beasts.
think it did.
I don't
Oh, we
think
did.
you.
my
have to.
qualm was that I didn't read the book
I
before this. And now I'm
I-
going to go home and
I
probably
feel
read it tonight.
strongly about this topic in terms of like
It's hard to
because
separate them.
to me it's not, because to me I'm like movies, books. There is so much to pull from.
We
for the
talked a little
books.
bit about this. What we used as the example was that how in is it the 3rd or 4th book? Sorry, 3rd or 4th movie where Sirius is in the fire and the coals are so cool
It's
looking.
between
And
the
then
4th and the
this-
5th.
and then
And
the
this-
fourth one, he's no. In this one, he's just like a
Fire.
fireman.
He's the
and
flame.
like in the book, it says he's the flame, but that doesn't translate well on film.
But
Yeah.
see, I remember him being in the flame, not the flame or the
like he's a
coals.
human
He
in
is-
the flame. That's
he-
what I
his
remember.
head is in the
That's what
flames.
I remember.
It's a portal, so half
Right.
of his body
Yeah.
is in the flames.
Which
So I saw it as
I
him in
also-
the flames.
I also don't believe would translate as well on film as him being the coals.
Yeah.
It would
themselves.
Yeah.
scare the shit out of little kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So-
I'm with you on that.
I mean, for me, it's very, very easy to separate the two because it would be impossible to have, we would have
And-
20, 40 movies
and I
of
think
like to get all of the details.
Even Lord of the Rings 4-hour films they cut entire characters out.
Well,
Tom Bombadil does not
so
make a single
when we do these episodes, I'm just like,
appearance in the
Never
first
heard of
film.
him. He's
Well,
the
no,
guitar player for the machines.
That's
Rage
right,
Against
Rage Against
them?
the Machines. Tom Bombadil.
I think
Raisin against the machines.
I think Josh does a really good job of having that dissonance between the books. And I like how you said it too, is like there's book logic and then there's movie logic.
Mhm.
And those two play separate worlds.
because when you read the books, you have one experience, and when you watch the movies, you have a different
100%.
experience.
Yeah.
and
100%.
like, and they can do certain things in a book. You literally can do whatever you want.
Mhm.
Yeah.
In terms of logic, in terms of
That's why people
this
prefer
is why
books.
this is this. Cool.
It's the reason you have to have Cho Chang be the one who rats all them, not Cho's friend, Margaret, who we never see. Because the emotional journey you have to have in a movie is that's the girl Harry likes.
Yeah.
And she turned on him. And then
Yeah.
you find out she was poisoned in a sense.
Yeah.
It is a
but-
quicker way to do it because in the book, yeah, Marietta ratted, but then Cho defends Marietta, and
And
that
that's-
becomes the fight.
Right.
So they
But how do we
Yeah.
condense that?
Yeah.
they condense the fight
How
and
does,
Cho
how does it
did
become
Makes
essential?
sense.
But that's the
Makes
movie
perfect
logic
sense.
you're talking about.
Yeah, I didn't have any qualms
Otherwise, you have
with
to
that.
spend time introducing a
Because
whole
if
new
you
character.
reading the book, because I've probably read all of the books one time
At
every
least.
year.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm yeah.
It's one of those things that, and so I have
I
to
haven't even done that with Lord of the Rings.
remove them.
Yeah.
Yeah. From
From
Otherwise,
each other, or else it's going to be like, well, this and this, like I do every time we do these episodes. I go, what changed? And it's like, oh, okay, yeah, that sucks. Oh, okay, yeah, because I don't have as claptrap as a memory as like Corey does. Corey can remember stuff that I'm like
Like his
"Whoa."
birthday.
Not necessarily the books, but like, but for me, like I'm like, yeah. I don't remember that. So when I
Yeah.
go through those lists, I'm like, oh yeah, you're right. That would have been cool. Oh yeah.
Yeah, if I read the books today or the fifth book today, I would write you in a list of the things that are like they should
Yeah.
have this, they should have had that.
And
they
so
told this
it
part
works.
wrong.
It almost, it's just like you might as well. This sounds terrible. It's like we might as well not even do the episode because
Yeah.
it's like there's so many things that
Yeah.
are changed that
We
it's
would
like
just talk about
there's
that.
so much working
Well,
against that.
That's a whole subject on its own.
Well, I was gonna say that's a whole other episode of like
Yeah.
the differences of Welcome to What Fandom.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
That
just
would be
to
so
summarize
negative.
what you just said. I mean, Ian McKellen said it brilliantly about Lord of the Rings. One sentence in a book is "armies march onto the field." That takes you 4.5 minutes to show on film. You have
Yeah.
to cut other things. You
Yeah.
have to.
Yeah.
Anyway, sing us out of here, Josh.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Thank you, Mikey. We've already said thank you, but I want to say it again because I love Mikey and I love having him in studio and at the table.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for those tuning in, whether you're watching on YouTube or you're listening on your favorite podcast app. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. If you are new to Nerd On, check out our website, nerdon.tv. It has all of the links for everything that we do, all the social media, all the different avenues for which we put our content out there.
Everywhere
It's there.
that we Recorder of the Phoenix.
Yes, exactly. Do share us with your friends and family if you liked what you heard today. If you don't, share us with the Death Eaters, It's, they'll somehow they'll learn to love us.
Maybe.
We'll force it upon them.
Yeah, and their black smoke.
Yeah. I think it's so funny the things you get caught up on. Where was I? Do check out the Nerd On Nation.
Yes.
It is a huge part of our success. They have been by us since day one and help us to be the best that we can be. Mikey's a member of the Nerd On
Yes,
Nation.
he is.
You betcha.
He's part of my nation too.
Bet he is.
Tom keeps touching my leg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the prenatal
I
nation.
mean, it's a bare leg, so it'd be easy
It is
to...
a bare leg.
It's a human leg.
It's a human leg, bare leg.
That's what you get for wearing shorters of the Phoenix.
So hot outside. Oh God.
Yeah, but do
it
check
bare
that
leg
out.
in
Nerdon.tv/Patreon and check out that Discord I mentioned above. Nerdon.tv/Discord. But that's it. That's
Yes.
all the housekeeping. We appreciate you all. Take care of yourselves. You know the drill. As always,
Nerd on.
Ending broadcast.